Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello everyone, and it's a delight to have you back on SimSpeed TV for a new season of RaceKraft V8 Veterans Championship. And not only a new season, but at a brand new track that we're all so excited for. The Adelaide Street Circuit looks absolutely gorgeous. What kind of racing is it going to turn up in 250 kilometers tonight? To answer those questions, all of our Split One drivers from the RaceKraft V8 Veterans Championship, and myself, David Haynes with Daniel Yeaman and Brock Cadday. Goodness me, I've embarrassed myself there. Good to have you, Brock. Dig me out of this hole.
I'll do my absolute best there. Was it Yeaman or Haynes? Anyway, awesome to be back. Season 26 here with the V8 Vets. And could you ask for a better start than hitting up iRacing's newest circuit in Adelaide? And as a big fan of the real-life circuit, I've visited this track many times and absolutely adore it. I'm so excited to be here tonight, yelling at pretend race cars and seeing these guys tackle this challenging track over 250 kilometers here. It is going to be such a long night.
1.7 million people live in South Australia. 1.4 million of them are in the Adelaide metro area. The median age of South Australia in 1971 was 27 years old. Now it's 41. But this is the racetrack as we know it, set in some beautiful parklands, but then also on the streets just on the eastern side of the Adelaide CBD. They've even named a straight after you here, but some of the action zones, Brock, are going to be turn 1, turn 9, just about anywhere.
Absolutely, David, and I'll keep that in mind when we're watching the broadcast later to bring up that it's my straight, the Brock straight there. But look, anywhere on this track is an action point. I think, as you said, turn 1, side by side through there is pretty much a no-go, particularly with the slowdown in iRacing at the centre chicane in turn 2 there. So guys are going to have to be pretty careful with how they take that. But look, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, all opportunities to get moves done. You've got to be line astern by turn 8. Even in the sim, it doesn't go well going side by side through there. Turn 9 is an opportunity, and the final turn at turn 14 too. So plenty of opportunities around here to get moves done. You've just got to have the bravery and the courage to get down the inside and get it done.
With a new season, there's a couple of new drivers as well. This is split 1 of 4, but there's always some shuffling. Some new drivers come in, some drivers step up, some drivers step down, some drivers step away. Most of the field is returning, but if you take a look here, in yellow is drivers promoted up into split 1. Green is split 1 level drivers returning, I do believe. So pointing out Jim Caparonis, Troy Stone Street, Dave Arney, Jason Spriggs, Matthew Scholes, Ricky Hyde, Paul Warwick, Tim Mulford, Blake Delaney, Darren Lobb, and my favourite, Simon Haynes.
I wonder why he's your favourite there, mate. I reckon that's something to do with a similar name, but very good to see some returning and promoted drivers here, and of course some of our old favourites as well that have done some massive starts. I mean, we just see on the left side of that list the likes of Darren Goosey, Jamie McKnight, and Dean Flavel all in well into the 200s with a couple others behind them there too. So some of our old favourites here in the veterans, or veterans as we like to call them. Some new and faces we've seen before, but I think we've got a great big field here and we're on for a nice night of it.
Absolutely. 250 kilometers is going to be quite a few laps of this street circuit. You saw just about 3.2 Ks. And that means it's going to be 78 laps. To be a classified finisher is to be 75% of the race distance, aka 59 laps today. Starting fuel of 80 litres, uncapped refill capacity. We'll see what strategy that gives us as our drivers attempt to negotiate their 2 compulsory pit stops within the compulsory pit stop window, Brock.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And look, there's going to be some varying strategies here. You definitely, as you can see, the estimated total fuel to add is 138 to 155 litres of fuel. So you're going to need that full tank, that, as you said, that unregulated tank there, plus a little bit more to get you to the end. So there's going to be a lot of different strategy options here that open them up to a short fuel earlier on to get some speed out of some new tyres, or really go deep into the race and then fill the car right up to the top, but have some tyres on your car towards the sort of mid to end point of the race. So we're going to see a lot unfold here. We've seen, I don't know about you guys, but we've seen some images of people coming to learn this track, and there's been a few incidents and a few people coming together, so they're going to have to be careful of incidents. Safety cars might play a role here, but we've got up on screen now the early, even, and late stops. Early is your first stop on lap 2 there. You throw your fuel in and you go into the middle of the race there, so that's from your first lap. The compulsory pit stops open. Your even and late stops actually start at about the same time, but your late stop goes a lot later into the race, where maybe if you need to make up some time, want to get on a fresh set of tyres, that might be your one to go for. But as we said, plenty of strategy to play out here. No fuel tank restriction. It means it's all to play for, really.
Absolutely. I think strategy will be driven by track position, safety cars, all that sort of stuff. So qualifying is wrapped up. Let's take a look at how the starting grid will be for this 250 kilometers, and I'm actually excited to see where the tail of this standing start is going to be, with over 40 drivers. Wayne Walker, whenever there's a new track, expect to see Wayne Walker up front, and he has the pole at the Adelaide Street Circuit the first time RaceKraft V8 Vets are visiting. Jordan Ross, the defending champion, has qualified second. Third on the grid is going to be Ken Latter, just ahead of Scott Gamble in fourth. A couple of new liveries throughout the field as well. New season, new kicks, new paint, whatever it may be. Jeff Thomas in fifth. Troy Stone Street returning to the championship in sixth on the grid. Logan Barnett will start from seventh. Dean Logsdale has made a little bit of a team switch, I think, over to 9.5, and he has qualified eighth. David Kirby in ninth, and then Michael Stewart is in 10th.
Jason Spriggs, one of our newcomers into the series, in 11th, and Scott Mackay out of 12th. Robert Crisdale in 13th, and Darren Lobb, another not newcomer but coming back, in 14th. Justin McLean in 15th, and Paul Young out of 16th. Andrew Rushworth in 17th, another one of our new drivers, in Jim Caparonis in 18th. Christian Spart, 19th, and rounding out our top 20 here, Luke Orman.
Ricky Hyde has qualified 21st, Wayne Sanderson 22nd. Couple of new paints here are fresh on the eyes. Matt Scholes in 23rd. Lorne McKee, Accelerate Sim Racing have all got new liveries. He's 24th. Simon Haynes is in 25th, just ahead of Travis Hunt in 26th. That's where a supercars grid might normally end at the Adelaide Street Circuit, but for V8 Vets, we are chock-a-block. It keeps going to Michael Whiting in 27th, Ray Smith in 28th, Brian Minogue in 29th, Matt Brunt in 30th.
All right, we have Brad Doble in 31st and Paul Warwick out of 32nd. David Nash in 33rd and Stephen Kennedy in 34th. Tim Mulford in 35th and John Gallen out of 36th. Chad Lewis in 37th and Darren Goosey out of 38th. Greg Sharp in 39th and Blake Delaney in 40th. And we just have a few more cars left on our grid here tonight. Mark Poynton out of 41st and Dean Flavel out of 42nd. And Damien Cairns out of 43rd, so our last car on the grid there, completing a 43 car grid and a massive one to kick off Adelaide here. And David, I reckon you're pondering about where this snake of cars will land is a good one here, right? I reckon we'll go all the way around that last turn.
Yeah, I think some of them will be starting in Murray Bridge or McLaren Vale or even at the Bend, perhaps. a couple of options there. Let's take a look at some of our drivers now we've taken a look at the grid. There's a bonus point in this championship for joining the Zoom feed. That can be very great for our broadcast and also just very nice little bonus for your championship. Our drivers love to get involved. And involved right now is Luke Allman. We've got Stewie there for Michael Stewart. Always giving us a fresh angle. We love that. Previous champion Scott Gamble there. Ray Smith got some serious glasses on and he's strapped in, ready for this one. John Gallen. There's Simon Haynes. G'day, my long-lost cousin. And Travis Hunt. Just trying to make sure that he's ready. Wayne Sanderson in the VR. He's got triples and VR. Jeff Thomas isn't in his seat, but he's got 4 big monitors. David Kirby's ready to go. Damien Cairns is giving us the heart rate. Christian Smart is getting warmed up. Ken Ladder's got a big smile on his face. Greg Sharp also racing with the VR headset on. And Justin McLean has got a clean pair of heels. Is he going to be able to show that to the field today?
I'm really excited to check in with all these guys. They all look a bit too relaxed at the moment. I think 78 laps around here will test their mettle and see what they're made of. I just need to point out, Damien Cairns, I think we used to just have, at times last season, just his heart rate. Now we get to actually see him. So we'll get to judge how he's looking in racing just based off how hard that heart rate is going. So great to see everyone back here at the moment. Some new faces as well this season on the Zoom wall. And I'm sure we'll get to check in with all of them tonight.
An interesting section in some of the Formula One coverage recently where David Coulthard was talking about wearing a heart rate monitor during a testing session, not a Grand Prix race, just testing a Formula One car, and his average heart rate was like 180 BPM or something. Insane what the extra G-forces adds, because I look at some of these drivers sitting at a heart rate of, 100, 120, and you go, gee, that's a bit of work for some hours, but it's even more driving a Formula One car.
Absolutely, and I think it's
grid. Where is that tail?
Yes, yeah, very good point. Waiting to see the last of the guys all grid up here. They're getting towards pit entry there at the moment.
So we are 2.5 minutes away from getting a new season underway, and momentarily the drivers, the officials are going to join us in a minute's silence to honour those lost and hurt in the recent Bondi shooting. Our thoughts, of course, are with everyone involved and affected by that terrible, terrible occurrence. And V8 Vets have organised a minute's silence on the grid here. We'll be beginning in 10 seconds, so I hope you'll join us, the drivers, the teams, and race control in a minute's silence. a special procedure and a touching moment on the grid as RaceKraft V8 Vets thinks beyond just the racing and to our community, our friends, our family all across Australia and the world. It's Wayne Walker and Jordan Ross on the front row of the grid. There's 3.2 kilometres of the Adelaide street circuit, but there are over 40 V8 engines ready to bounce off the buildings, the concrete walls, the tarmac, and yes, indeed, the curbs. A new season of RaceKraft V8 Vets starts at the place that the Supercars Championship always used to kick off in my childhood. I'm sure memories of that for you too, Brock.
Absolutely, I was there in 2014 when Scotty Mack made that classic pass on Jamie Whincup into the last turn on the last lap. I was in fact in that grandstand at the back left of picture heading into the last turn. So many amazing memories here, and I hope that V8 Vets can create some of their own here tonight.
78 laps, who is going to clock first and give it some jandle today? Wayne Walker will have the inside line for the treacherous turn 1-2 chicane. Jordan Ross gets a bit of wheel spin, so do a bunch of our drivers. Looks like Paul Warwick has jumped the start as well. Turn 1, turn 2, you'd rather try to pick a car park at the shopping centre on the 23rd of December than pick your way through there on the opening lap here. Wayne Walker has the perfect launch. It looks like Michael Stewart has a slowdown as they've gone through there, and it is carnage, chaos, 3 lanes, 4 lanes heading in towards turn 4. I think everyone has been relatively careful, except right back there where we've had some contact. Jeez, I think I saw green and yellow car get in there a bit high.
We nearly made it through those first few turns all unscathed, which is a miracle in itself here. Now, unfortunately, John Gallen has become one of the victims here, but we're going to go down to turn 8 now, where all the guys are just trying to sort themselves out. We talked about how through here should be single file all the way through, particularly in these cars. A couple of guys scrape the ball side by side through turn 8, down into turn 9. That is brave on lap 1. We have lane by lane 3 wide into turn 9 here as well. Oh, we've got contact again there. These guys, it's a slow braking zone, cold tyres, cold drive, start of the new season, but these guys are not waiting for anyone at the moment.
A couple of drivers have made up some big spots so far. Paul Young is up 6, Darren Lott is up 3. Kai's dropped a couple. The standing start getaway was really challenging for a lot of the drivers. He's also picked up a couple of spots. Kent Ladder in second, just picked up a slowdown. Where did he get that in the tail half of the lap? Wayne Walker with a perfect start, but Jordan Ross back into 4th, and now Ken Latta dropping back a spot 2. Paul Warwick serving his penalty. Plenty as well, the first time flying at full speed through the turns 1 and 2 chicane.
I feel like this won't be the last we see of slowdowns. As you come through that turn 2 chicane, much as you get curb hops in real life in supercars, you get slowdowns in iRacing, and they're hard to avoid and they're easy to get. So I think we are going to see a lot more of that tonight as on track now. We're looking at the middle of the field at the moment, and now to the front there with Jordan Ross, who has gotten down the inside of Ken Latta. So off the back of that, obviously slow half of the lap for Ken Latta with those slowdowns. Now Ross has made up one of those positions he lost at the start. So coming into the last sector here, the last few turns, Ross will set his sights on Gamble and Walker up ahead, and Latta leads a pretty tight lane of cars behind him at the moment as Ross will set his sights forward.
Well, we remain green. We've crossed onto the 3rd lap of the race, so the compulsory pit stop window is open. We know that we've got an uncapped fuel tank here, so there's room to squeeze in some fuel if you want an early stop. But this is, at 250k, is going to be a serious race today. It's going well for Wayne Walker as he lays down the new fastest lap of the race. Scott Gamble got a great start in this race from 4th up into 2nd. Ken Latta had initially a good getaway, but Jordan Ross has gotten him back, and now Ross is putting some pressure onto 2nd place. Was Blake Delaney maybe that driver that went really hot in towards turn 4? He seems like he's the first driver that race control from RaceKraft V8 Vets have given a penalty to.
Yeah, interesting. That'll be one if we get a chance to have a look at it. I'll be curious to see if potentially he's caused a bit more carnage there, despite himself going down that escape road. Easy to lock up that tyre on the bumps in the turn 4. 3 wide, and we've got pirouetting. Not what you want to see here tonight is Michael Stewart getting involved in this one, being spun with multiple cars around, including himself. Logan Barnett, the other victim in that one there, in a 3 wide move. Oh, I spoke too soon. They're coming around blind now around that corner. We've got a car park on the exit of turn 9.
Is the track jammed? Not quite yet, but it almost is. Just squeezing through there. A couple more cars still to spin around on the exit of turn 9. It began as a 3-car accident, and it's claimed more as it's come down the hill, building like an avalanche almost. Greg Sharp looks like he's got a bit of damage. Any other meatball flags out there? Not really. It's a car crash that's happened in slow motion, and that's hardly even a euphemism. It's literally just what's happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just about your slowest point on the circuit there at turn 9, so probably lucky in some sense that's where they had some of that nose and tail. And we've got a spin at turn 4 now, so 2 guys are around. Logsdale and Ricky Hyde here. Hyde doing a great job to get turned around there, using Logsdale as a bit of a blocker so he doesn't get hit, but well done there, not getting in the way of anyone else. Speaking of, and unfortunately another couple of drivers have gotten involved with that, Dean Flavel being one of them and Ray Smith the other. So Flavel might have some damage here, which is making him a bit slower after that incident, but we're starting to see, just as the guys are ramping up and starting to push, a few of those mistakes are coming into it.
Oh my dear days. Matt Brunt's been one of the drivers going forward in this group. He's side by side with Matt Scholes right now. You saw Travis Hunt get a little bit of a hit. Andrew Rushworth leads this group. And Finn Kennedy's been on 10 spots so far in this race. He's part of this group there in the M1 car just behind, as you see Matt Brunt, in front of Lorne McKinney, who just drilled the wall. Oh no.
Great avoidance from the cars behind Lorne there, because that could have been another car park like we saw on the exit of turn 9, and they did really well to avoid him. Great avoidance because of get around him, but Lorne sporting a bit of damage there as we flick now back down to turn 4, where we have some car.
Michael Stewart, Simon Haynes, and Scott Mackay. Simon Haynes up 10 spots in this race. You've got some of those changes on the timing column now. Top 6 are all back in order, but the rest of the field shaken up like a snow globe. Do you have any ornaments or real Christmas tree, Brock?
Nothing that shakes and moves like a snow globe, my friend. All of ours are static little balls. There's nothing that can create the sort of action and drama that we've seen here tonight, unless one of my cats got in there. Looking at Jason Streaks now, with Justin McLean there. So down the inside, turn 9 proving to be a great overtaking spot here now as they come into what I believe is turn 10 or 11. Excuse me, my track map knowledge is not up there. So here we go. Justin McLean, great move there, past Spriggs, and he's gotten that done now into the final turn.
Gordon Ross has worked his way back to second place. Scott Gamble's gone back to 4th. Blake Delaney's still on the pit lane for whatever reason. But as Jordan Ross has been unleashed into second place, he's also now gone and picked up a new fastest lap of the race. That doesn't line up with my timing, but I believe it. So we'll see if Jordan Ross can drill back some of Wayne Walker's lead. There's Scott Gamble.
Yes, it looks like on my timing I've got here, Scott's just a few tenths off the pace from the guys up ahead of him in ladder, Ross and Walker at the moment. Just not quite finding the pace he needs in this early part of the race here. Now we've got a long time to go and he's still put himself in a great position, and we know Scott Gamble's a great driver and has been around for many races here at V8 Vets, so I'll be curious to keep an eye on him. But as always, locked in, keeping himself focused there. He's even got a V8 Vets poster in the background there from season 20. How cool is that? But look at him now as he comes around to start what will be his lap 7, still right up behind Ken Lattis, not letting him run away with anything, and we'll stay on watch him now as he comes to turn 1 to take the centre chicane.
Well, lap times are getting even quicker. That checks out. We've got quite a cool day and a cool race track at 18 degrees Celsius in the air, 22 on the track. We'll be begging for that at the Adelaide Oval today, and nary a zephyr of wind, not as if it'd get to the racing circuit much between all of the buildings, trees and concrete walls, so the longer you go on, the more fuel you burn, the tyres should be holding in. This, my word. Is a lap down, a car or two in this as well. It's Michael Whiting. Yeah, it's Christian Smart behind Robert Crisdale. Jason Spriggs just ahead of them. It's only 3 cars battling for position. There's a whole group of drivers together, a lap down, like Cairns, Caperonis, Logsdale, a bunch of drivers who've jumped in for their first stop that were involved in incidents are already a lap down.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see how that pans out. As we watch another move happen here on Greg Sharp. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these pit stops pan out, because obviously if they're doing long ones, that's going to lead. There's a short lap time around here, relatively speaking, so there's going to be this ebb and flow of guys who are a lap down, then get their lap back, and that can really get in the way of the drivers who are out there racing for position on the lead lap. But of course, you've got battle packs like some of the ones we've seen through the field that are also still battling for position even a lap down. So that'll create a really interesting conundrum a bit later in this race. As now we go to car 800 here, as they come round onto the front straight. Excuse me, I'm still learning all the new liveries and whatnot, but this is the battle for 17th at the moment. Right in the middle of this, they come through turn 1, 2 and 3 and head down towards turn 4.
On board with Travis Hunt right now, he's behind Matt Scholes, Michael Whiting and Andrew Rushworth. He's looking very intently at the Nolda on Andrew Rushworth's Ford Mustang. And he's got Matt Brunt behind him as well. Spot the curbs, spot the walls. Here's the challenge.
That a little rub of the wall there as well, down the inside. Oh, that's a double move by Travis Hunt. If we've ever seen one, he's going to try and get that done. And he hasn't quite on the second half of that, but that looked like almost a bit of panic coming into those moves there, because I reckon he was trying to go for one move, not the double, pulled it up really nicely there, and has managed to continue on. Absolutely got some pace. We saw some good things from Travis Hunt last season, and he's trying to keep that up, but without taking anyone out along the way.
Bit of a mirror, there's 2 Travis Hunts. Right there, he's got a bunch of his steering wheels and other stuff on display. Seeing every lap, a couple of drivers pick up slowdown penalties through that turn 2 chicane. This time it was Scott Gamble. He drops away from the podium a little bit further. I think Troy Stone Street also got one. No troubles in this battle here, though, for Hunt and Whiting.
No, and Hunt is absolutely on the hunt. He is fighting here.
No, it's called fishing if you're trying to get Whiting.
Sorry, he's fishing for Whiting at the moment, coming through turn 8. We'll leave it at that, and he might get the move done. He might catch himself a Whiting down the inside here at turn 9. He will try and get this done. Whiting's going to hold him nice and tight. Hunt's going to push him out nice and wide there. They're still going to go side by side here. This will be hard to get done for Hunt here around the outside. He's not going to stick there. He's going to stay behind Whiting at the moment, and that fishing expedition will continue into the next lap.
Michael Stewart, just up the road from this, has a black flag. I didn't quite catch what race control said, but they've been busy from the opening laps. Many a 3-car, 4-car, 5-car spin around the scene in some of the blind, slow corners as drivers have tried to battle side by side, but tangled. Travis Hunt's really committing through places like turn 2 and turn 8, and he thinks that's going to give him the opportunity to try to get down the inside on Michael Whiting. He did such a great job at turn 8 last lap. He just didn't quite pull it up at turn 9 better than Whiting could.
Yeah, and Whiting's driving quite well defensively at the moment, and just not quite letting Hunt in. And he's driving well around the outside, using the corners well here at Adelaide to maintain position and fight for the next inside turn. So can't quite do too much there. We're looking at Stone Street now with Paul Young right behind him. Young up 9 positions. And you know what? Paul Young is someone last season we saw up in this top end of the field. So it's not surprising to see him doing a little bit better here. But he's not stopping. He's looking hungry. And he's right on the back of Troy Stone Street coming to turn 1 at the moment. Looking to make a move work. Now, through Adelaide, if you're close enough, turn 1, 2 and 3 are really the setup to get down to the turn 4 and get a move done. Paul isn't quite there yet, but that'll be what he's looking to do, is set up this staircase section here for a move potentially to go down into past turn 8 into turn 9. It's all set up through this lap here.
Keeping an eye on how the cars behave on some of these curbs. They get up on top of that exit one. The exit of turn 9, they didn't seem entirely phased by the curb there, which was a bit of a surprise to me. For turn 8, you've got the curb on the inside, but the concrete on the outside. This is turn 9. Inside, no dramas. But, whoa, this could be our first safety car, because that is a heavily damaged Michael Whiting. Not displaying a meatball flag, but that looks like a car that's going nowhere. Just as Wayne Walker, the race leader, goes into the wall. Did he mess up pit? Did he mess up pit entry? Was he distracted? Just as the safety car was called, Wayne Walker has gone into the wall at the final corner. Jordan Ross leads. The pole sitter has immense damage.
Wow,
There's a lot of the drivers messing up the pit entry. Justin McLean has just David Coultharded it.
Wow, this is big for Wayne Walker in the context of this race. He was doing really well here. It is a tough pit entry here. You've got to get on the brakes hard, turn hard, and the entry with a limiter here is just as you turn right into the pit lane. So you've got to be on it and not accelerate too hard and have the pit limiter engaged. So be curious to see some replays once we unfold how this pit cycle and safety car is going to go. But Jordan Ross is humdinging at the moment to get back around there and make sure that he comes out in the lead of this race. But being held up a little bit here by a back marker, but he'll still get around to the pits and get in, and then we'll see how this order shakes out post safety car.
So this is what's brought out the safety car. Michael Whiting going into turns 1 and 2. I bet, yeah, it's turned in too early for turn 1. Ripped the front off that tyre barrier. Done immense damage to the car. Let's see, Wayne Walker, but okay, this is the obligatory, the slowdown from the static cam.
Oh, that's he's probably lucky the thing didn't roll there in front of the rest of the cars. Didn't hit that sand trap side on, but immediately broke the front left as soon as it hit that tyre barrier, and no wonder it might not be able to go anywhere. That steering probably is a little worse for wear, but as you said, the next one we want to see is Wayne Walker, and here we go, David.
Okay. He's trying to park the lap car. It's wide, gets the outside tyres into the grass, and then apparently Adelaide turf is very slippery. Is that a day 1 or a day 4 wicket? But that has hurt very desperately for Wayne Walker. Jordan Ross is out of the pits and into the lead of the race. Jeff Thomas is into second. Ken Latta third. Paul Young, a quick stop, has jumped up into 4th. Scott Gamble, a long stop, is into 5th, but with a lot of fuel on board. Strategically, this is incredibly strong for Jordan Ross. Pit stop times are on the left side of the screen. I want to see Wayne Walker from maybe 2 or 3 corners before that, because he's clearly in a hurry, and that's a risky move that he's made.
Yeah, well, where he's gone on the track there is where you're under brakes. So if you're on the grass there on the outside, and when you're under brakes, you're just going to, exactly what happened to Wade is going to happen. And clearly there was potentially an issue there. We're going to have a look at this replay now. So this is Wade now behind the back marker. Oh, he's nearly collected him through. Yeah, it's just early on there. He's just grabbed the grass on the left-hand side after nearly collecting that back marker, and that's probably what's given him too much extra speed and the inability to brake hard like he wanted to.
we're still getting used to the new shapes, flavors, colors, lights, and sounds. I think that was a fishy car, of which there are plenty out there in RaceKraft V8 Vets. There's plenty in the sea as well. The safety car, though, perhaps has helped Wayne Walker a tiny bit because it's reduced how much he would have lost. He's repaired his car. He's in 7th. He got as much fuel as Jordan Ross did. It looks like anyone that took 35 or 36 seconds has brimmed their fuel tank. Just absolutely full to the gills like 2 p.m. on Christmas Day.
The smart thing to do at this point as well is just, as you said, fill it up to the gills. Make sure that you can go as far into this thing as you can. You know, you're at that you're really in the middle of that early to even stop strategy at the moment, and that's it. Just with the safety car, you almost get that half a pit stop as well under there. So a lot of people made the smart decision, just top it right up. The safety car brings everyone together as well. So effectively what we've seen is a lot of people are now on a very similar strategy, and now it'll be about how do you manage that second pit stop. This middle stint as well usually is a bit of a longer one, so all these guys will be trying to get the most out of their car, maintain the tyres, and then probably set, well, I would say normally we'll see it all pop off in the last stint, but with Adelaide, who knows, it's been pretty exciting so far.
The Lightning McQueen track position strategy is Travis Hunt. He's taken one of the shortest pit stops of anyone. He's now into the top 10 here, so we got ahead of a couple of the drivers he was battling, like Matt Scholes, like Michael Whiting now, who out of the safety car with an immense accident. We're really just about to begin waiver rounds now by the sound of things. Slightly different procedure this season, I believe, as well, so I don't think they're going to get that complete whole lap back, but there's a few of them that'll get sent around the safety car.
Yeah, I believe you're right there, David. I think that they'll let these guys through, and then the plan is to then get the race going again if they can, safely that is. So this is be interesting to see how this goes. Always interesting to try new procedures and see how they go. We'll see how this one goes tonight.
So it was 33 cars on the lead lap. Tim Mulford, Shad Lewis, Darren Goosey, John Gallen, Dean Flavel. There's a couple of Ray Smith. There's a couple of cars still not on circuit, like Michael Whiting, Blake Delaney, and Paul Warwick by the looks of things. There's Ray Smith. Any temptation to duck in if you're 30th position?
If it was me, I would be a little bit tempted because it's almost like you've got nothing rid of the loops here. You're not going to go too far back in the pack. You could probably make it to the back of the safety car queue with a quick sort of splash and dash, and you just never know where those extra seconds are going to get you from a strategy point of view later in this one. Like, yeah, we've got a long race here, but at the end of the day, it'll come down to potentially tenths at the end of this thing. So if you can get a bit of a benefit, whether a couple more safety cars and survive, you never know where you could end up.
So, who's got the most positions gained? Is it Travis Hunt plus 16? Mark Poynton's also plus 16. I note Paul Young, with his quick stop and a couple of passes that he'd already made, is up into 4th with 12 positions gained in this one. And that is our top 3 on that table, followed by Wayne Sanderson and Matt Scholes.
Yeah, definitely some big movers here, as we're hearing in the background that we're just about ready to expect the safety car in this lap, and it'll start pulling away as it just has done there. But look, big movers, and part of that field spread is probably from some incidents. Excuse me, our producer in the background mentioned there's definitely been some field spread in that first stint. Part of that is some of the incidents, and these guys will have benefited from that. But we'll now look to the lead of this race. Jordan Ross didn't have his best start, but now leading this thing, he's pretty used to doing that. But still a long way to go in this one before we can finish off this race tonight.
The four fastest drivers in the first stint: Jordan Ross, Ken Latta, Scott Gamble and Wayne Walker, but they have been spread through the field. Jeff Thomas has risen up to second, Paul Young has risen up into fourth, and Troy Stonestreet is back up into the sixth position. We have quite a fair bit of racing still to come at Adelaide as we restart, and Jordan Ross, the defending champion, now leads under green flag for the first time and heads down towards turn one. Single file on the restart should help everyone negotiate turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Almost everyone's got new tyres as well that ought to help them with their grip through there as well. But Scott Gamble has still hopped turn 2 from 5th place. Is that going to cost him on a restart lap? Every Scott's doing it because Mackay has done it as well.
Oh geez, this is going to be so costly on a restart where you can just lose so much time as the field passes you by, and some of these slowdowns are particularly gnarly. Particularly that turn 2-1 is quite nasty. So they will lose position after position, have to claw their way back through this one, as we're seeing plenty of side-by-side action now coming around to the back straight, turn 7 here at the moment, and that'll lead us down.
Andrew Rushworth there, so Michael Stewart's trying to sneak his way back through.
That's it, and Michael Stewart, and we saw him get spun earlier in this race. He's spun Ricky Hyde to turn 8. This is going to be carnage. There's cars and cars and cars involved in this. Oh my goodness. What's that, 7, 8 more getting involved? We said earlier side by side shouldn't be done, and they've all managed to keep it going. There's some damage, but no one's parked.
Oh, Rushworth's front left, it looks like, is gone, and we know that you've got to be a long way up the inside in turn 8, and someone's got to yield. If no one does, an accident like that feels inevitable, and it's dragged together a whole heap of cars. David Nash has got a meatball flag. Luke Allman has got a meatball flag, and it's clear to see that Andrew Rushworth is currently 3 wheels on the wagon. Someone's out through the grass. How about 3 wheels for Luke Allman as well? And they're both going to, with mirroring damage, try to make the tight turn into the 40km/h pit lane speed limit.
Can you imagine coming around turn 8, not expecting that incident? And we'll talk about that later, because Ken Latta is under pressure here from Jeff Thomas and Paul Young. Now, Jeff Thomas has actually been passed here. Oh, they're going to go side by side. Not quite. Paul Young just pulling out of that one at the turn 8. We nearly saw a carbon copy. That incident with Stewart and Hyde. Young down the inside of Jeff Thomas here at turn 9. And he will not, he's going to get past him and make it work. No, Thomas is going to keep his nose in it. No, he's given it up. Smart play there. Oh, Young's gone wide. Nearly into the wall. He's spun Thomas. Oh my goodness, Thomas and Young are both around and in the wall here. What is happening?
Well, it's chaos on the streets of Adelaide. Ken Latta back up into second. Scott Gamble back up into third. Wayne Walker back up into fourth. Since the restart, we've had a couple of big incidents. Cars turning cars. Jordan Ross says, see you guys later. I'll set a new fastest lap for the race. I'm out of here. Scott Gamble, another turn 2 cut, but so's Wayne Walker, so's Troy Stonestreet. They've all got it. Darren Lobb could pick off a couple here. He's in a new paint. And we've got another big incident, and that looks like exiting turn 3. More dramas for Paul Young. What has happened this time as he's tried to get back going?
Yeah, Christian Smart also had his own issue here.
I think Smart's got no engine. I think Smart's got no drive.
I reckon you're right there, David, because if he had some drive, he'd try to get out of the way, because he's right on that racing line at the moment, and the guys are not slowing down at the moment. We should really be expecting a safety car here or something, because his car is parked in the precarious position. And Paul Young, look at that, his car is absolutely wrecked from those couple of incidents he's now had. So expect a pit stop this time around, but he's just a moving
wrecking at turn 9.
the rest of the field at the moment.
Someone's just turned someone at turn 9. Oh, you can see smoke in the air. I think we've gotten going, but it looks like Hoons, but it's just V8 Vets having to right their cars and spin them around. We're going to have a second safety car, which was definitely in the likely playbook as we came to Adelaide for 250 kilometres of racing. And that gives everyone a chance to hopefully catch their breath and pick a couple of the replays apart. Starting with Paul Young, but then it seems like he's also been here when whatever's happened to Christian Smart has happened. The rest of the field working their way through the inside of turn 3.
Are you getting nervous like I am, David, watching these guys fire through the centre chicane? I am just getting these nerves of, we just don't need another incident here. Under safety car, these guys are all pushing to make it potentially to the pits, to the safety car, whatever. But, Christian Smart's dead on track. He can't go anywhere. We just need to see a bit of calm and care there now that we're under safety car and no passing can happen, because we all know how wrong it can go through turn 1, 2 and 3 here at Adelaide.
Well. There's our safety car. There's Christian Smart. And we're just going to wait for most of the field to go by. Who's jumping to pit lane? Robert Crisdale is from 11th place. The top 10 stayed out. I was thinking, who goes for a second stop here? And that's why I was trying to get some more information as well, because we're still before the critical lap number to make it to the end. Everyone's made one of their compulsory pit stops. They know they're going to need to make a second. So for Rob Crisdale, he has taken a new set of tyres, shaving about 10 seconds off his next pit stop, but he's still going to make a third pit stop, and he's just given up about 16 positions on track. A couple more, actually. 40 k's an hour is pretty brutal as a pit lane speed limit. Accurate, but brutal.
I like that. Accurate and brutal. And that is so true. At 40k now, it's hard to slow down for. It's
I'm a
hard
straight
to bear.
shooter. I say it how it is. I don't care if you get offended. I'm accurate, but brutal.
Watch out, David. I'll start calling you Kyle from now on.
It's my impression of a modern podcast host.
And you know what? Props, 10 out of 10. I would absolutely listen to you any day of the week, except for V8 Vets. I think we're pretty good at what we do. But look, I think Chris...
Not a great compliment, but whatevs.
Crisdale here, I don't know if he's made the right move. I think that right now, yes, it's going to help his pit stop, but he's got to have some mega pace in this next stint right now. That's assuming we have
he's made the right decision if he had any damage.
That's true. That's a very good point, and we don't 100% know that. So if he did have damage, he's got a bit of pace under him. We've just seen some guys nearly get into each other coming out of turn 8 as well, going very quick to try and catch a safety car QI around a blind corner. But yeah, look, I think these guys will pit the second time if they can make up some positions, potentially take advantage of another safety car. We've already hit that. I think earlier we were talking about, David, 2 to 4 safety cars was the general consensus in the field that you'd found out. We're already at 2. So I reckon we're probably going to see some more. We're barely even a third of the way through this thing. So could Crisdale be a bit of a smoky in this?
Though, Christian Smart on the inside. Oh, gets turned. And Christian Smart's engine's already dead. And then Paul Young drills him as Christian Smart was on apex of turn 3. Smart couldn't go anywhere. Oh gosh, okay, so Matt Scholes gets a poor exit, perhaps gets just a little bit of a rub from Christian Smart, who gets to the inside. Matt Scholes is halfway done here. A bit of contact. Bang!
Yeah,
yikes, ouch, yuck.
Oh, and it's an unfortunate one there because... Here we go, I'm on board with Paul Young. We'll see just how blind he was to this incident. So he saw it all unfolding ahead of him here. By the time he had a moment to do anything, he's carrying too much speed. He can't dodge around. He's going to end up in the tyre wall. It's just, you've got to fire forward. Like, there's nothing Young could have done there. Smart didn't know what was going to happen to him because he got spun around by Scholl in the end there, and that'll be up to race control to decide how that gets decided. But yeah, very, very messy one for two drivers who we expected to be a bit further up in the field tonight. Unfortunately, well, Smart's escaped and out, and Young is 37th and has just had a heck of a lot of damage.
So that's just quite a damaged car. Yeah, for Paul Young. Back looking at the live pictures as some wave around is underway. That would be Paul Warwick, I think. No, someone else just going past. Got the drivers going around. Jordan Ross still leads. Still have us, I think, still a lap away. Yep, still a lap away from going back green. Ken Latta up into second. Scott Gamble up into third. Wayne Walker is now back into fourth. There was a time that he was damaged and down in 8th place, but now he is right back in this battle in fourth. He's got the same fuel as everyone in front of him. All taken 36 seconds, and who's had to dip into their fast repairs? Quite a few drivers. Ken Latta, Jim Caparonis. I think the further down the time economy you go, the more likely it becomes that it's been required to take some repairs. Drivers, most positions gained as this is all played out, and we had that incident. So Matt Brunt now up into 11th, Brad Doble up into 13th. Mark Poynton is plus 25 right now. Damien Cairns plus 23. It's tough to keep your nose clean, but if you can, clearly there are some rewards. Poynton's got a tiny bit of damage on the left rear corner, and must be Jeff Thomas. Got a tiny bit of damage. Oh, he does. Yep. And there's Damien Cairns. Accelerate Sim Racing.
There's a lot to be said for keeping it clean around this place, and tonight has proven it's not as easy a task as it might turn out. We're on board with Damien Cairns, just having his heart rate there, so not quite at its peak, but we're getting ready to go green again after this safety car, mate.
McLaren safety car's second appearance is now over. It's pulled away from the field. Jordan Ross controls us, holding about 70 k's an hour, just slowing it down a little bit for the final hairpin, and at the apex he says, I'm out of here. It's time to get going once again and to start lap 23 of 78. Ken Latta, Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker and Darren Lobb as our top 5 follow him across the curves of turn 1, 2, 3, and then another big braking zone at turn 4. That's Justin McLean getting a tiny bit wide. Got to be careful with the track limits of 2. Mark Poynton gets a slowdown from it as well. What you've got to keep, I think, is your left side tyres, at least on the yellow line. It's pretty tough.
No, definitely agree through there. Obviously, in real life, it's a little unforgiving, but here in iRacing, you've got to have some steadfast rules to make sure that you don't take advantage. And here, you've really got to position that car to launch over the turn 1 curve and then take that turn 2 curve with speed, but not entering over that yellow line. But now we're focused down through turn 8 into turn 9. So everyone's gotten through. We haven't seen too much in the way of incidents. Nothing's popping up, not much is popping up, excuse me, sorry, here. So we're through this first lap after restart. What'll be really interesting to see is can everyone just gather their thoughts, get everything together, and have a few clean laps here, because we've seen some really intense racing and incidents earlier in this one. But let's see what these guys have to offer for us as we come around now to start lap 23.
Gordon Ross is going to offer us a new fastest lap of the race. Often happens on a restart, you burn off a little bit of fuel, you cool your tyres off. This is a close moment. Jeff Thomas trying to get past Jim Caperonis by the looks of things. No, Spriggs and Hunt. Okay. Wade Sanderson appears behind them. He's moved to 9.5. 9.5's moved to some slightly darker areas as well by the looks of things. And Matt Brunt, one of the big movers, just back there in the incredibly tennis ball coloured car.
Yep, and I think I'm still learning these liveries as well, and he is under pressure, and it looks like that move's going to happen here on Brunt down the inside of turn 9. Now that is what you call a textbook move from Justin McLean down the inside of turn 9. That is about as to the book as it gets from McLean. So he'll get past Brunt there. Great to see, cleanly done. Brunt realised what was happening, and now McLean will carry on about his race. Up 4 on where he started and showing some really good pace at the moment. And geez, McLean is surrounded by some guys who really had a bit of a strong race so far, as we just hear Ricky Hyde in the background for race control has been black flagged as well.
So he's been given a drive-through penalty. 1 or 2 others might come through as race control continue their studious work on the Adelaide street circuit, new to iRacing, install track for this type of motorsport. 250 k's is the classic distance as well, I reckon, and that's what we've got. 78 laps. Jeff Thomas, that thing is not pretty, but he's not getting past Jim Caperonis just yet. Pointon behind, and then Ricky Hyde with his drive-through. Damien Cairns, David Kirby, Lonaki, Chad Lewis. You got to hold your breath every time going into turn 8. That's where Tom's got some of those battle scars. He's gone in shallow, pushed out wide. Caperonis wants to think about striking back at turn 9, and Mark Poynton has come from the border, parked it at the apex. Ricky Hyde's going to try to shoot around the outside. Logstaff.
These guys are, I mean, we are still early in this race. Like this, there is still so much to go of this, and they are fighting like we're coming up to the last lap. So I'm glad everything's staying clean. But geez, that's David Kirby side by side now, coming into turn 1. He will still maintain the racing line. Smart racing there. But what happened when Scholl and Christian Smart went through there side by side? So Norton McKee's backed off and jumped in behind Kirby now, coming up into turn 4, and they'll all go line astern, albeit all of them slightly defending or looking for a more offensive line. So nobody is letting the pressure drop off here, and everyone is racing with everything they've got for round 1 of season 26.
On board with David Kirby in 20th position right now as he comes out onto Brock straight behind Damien Cairns. He's out. Is it a sharp intake of breath before he commits to turn 8? That's wide and just grazing the wall for Cairns, but Kirby isn't close enough to strike down into turn 9. He still wants some of it. I think that quite works out.
Yeah, Kirby here is he wants it. He wants it, that's for sure. He might get it done here. No, Cairns has just gone slightly defensive. Little bump there by the looks of it from Kirby, so he's letting him know, you know, knock, knock, I'm here. Morse code on the rear bumper. It has affected Kirby's run out of there, but as we've mentioned, there's not much of a run to be had in the turn 1, 2, and 3. This is where you start setting up what we want to do, and Cairns taking a lot of curb there. I wonder Has he scored a slowdown out of that? He has. So Kansas actually scored a slowdown out of that one, and will likely have to let Kirby through due to that.
Let's look at both of our drivers picture. Kansas still got it. And now it's gone. So interesting how that works. Kansas is going to have to be a little bit more careful at turn 8 this time. But Kirby's not getting a great drive off some of these corners at the moment. Still got pressure from Ron McKee, Brian Minogue, a couple of others. Hold your breath through turn 8. 78 times in this race, methinks.
Yeah, this is...
It's getting nasty back there with Brian Minogue and Robert Crisdale and others as well in this group. Yep,
it is. And I think that this is where turn 8, you can fight in behind and maintain your speed. It's creating some great overtaking opportunities. But if you're getting a couple of groups of cars trying to overtake each other all at the same time, that's when you're starting to see that back up and incidents occurring here. So I don't think we're done with seeing incidents occurring at turn 8 and beyond. But we will go line astern. Look here, Brian Minogue into turn 1 here. Got a little bit of breathing room around him. Most of the guys behind. Interesting to see how they're caring about being around that curve. You really see everyone making an effort to obviously not get that slow down and skirt that yellow line. But Minogue running a good race out there at the moment, keeping it nice and clean in the position that he is in, +5 on where he started. But unfortunately, with a bit of a conga line of cars all behind him, waiting for something to happen.
Still 5 or 6 laps away from the critical lap number, though. It's so early in this 250 kilometres. We've had pit stops from everyone. We've had 2 safety cars. We've had racing that looks like this. From Jim Caperonis in 17th, to Logan Barnett in 33rd. Good luck finding a space to cross the road.
Yep, you might need to hit the button and wait for the little green
Adelaide
person to tell you when to go.
Merge?
My experience is Adelaide drivers don't enjoy you crossing at a pedestrian crossing, so I think you've just got to wait, be patient and wait for your moment in the break in the traffic and go for it. And here at the Adelaide Street Circuit with V8 Vets, those moments are far and few between as we look at McLean and Wayne Sanderson, both guys who have had some great runs so far on lap 29 here and have doing really well here. Flashback to Jeff Thomas and Dean Boggs, but Jeff Thomas has got a heap of damage on the front of that car, which we didn't see. Now we're going back to Michael Stewart as well, who's on the inside there. Ricky Hyde, we're seeing quite a few slowdowns pop up is what I'm hearing in the background. So just there is action aplenty.
Track is blocked. That looks like exiting the staircase. We are only just able to trickle through there. My word. Damien Kansas stopped. Brian Minogue is stopped. Well, I can't see much from that angle, but neither can any of the drivers as it all untangles. Looks like everyone has an engine. Well, we'll find a replay to see how that started, because it only takes one car into another car into 2, 3, 4, 5 more, like an avalanche, snowball rolling down the hill, forming an avalanche.
Yeah, that was when the Adelaide circuit gets blocked. It only takes a couple of cars to come together, and then it all goes to hell in the handbasket there. So well managed and slow part of the circuit. So obviously the damage isn't too high. We saw that at turn 9 when we had that incident. But we will get a replay here soon to start to unpack it. And here it is, David.
There's already damage on Jim Caperonis. Oh, he loses the rear all himself, spins around, and then, gee whiz, that's nasty. The WK&P car that's almost all the way through and then loops around. Nash picking his through. There was a secondary one at the next corner. Is that my cousin? It is.
No, not the other Hainsey.
Yeah, that's the secondary one. It looks like Kansan Minot? Or one of the other SLS cars. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, what a mess there. Well done to most cars there for not getting too heavily involved and causing too much damage. Like, everyone tried their best to go through there with care, and even your cousin reversing tried to keep himself out of the way. And who's this we've got in the dirt now? Darren Goosey is in the sand at turn 2.
And has to be without much damage, to be honest. So has he been helped around battling with someone else there? Because every other incident we've seen is either you just straight line turn 2, get a whopping slowdown to carry on, or are you side by side with Paul Young going into turns 1 and 2 and get turned around by another car is how you end up around there without as much damage as drilling the wall.
Yeah, unfortunate one there, and look, it's all learning at this Adelaide circuit. You know, this is the first time these guys would have really raced in anger in most racing at this circuit. So a lot of learning to be had there, but an unfortunate one at turn 1 and 2 there for those guys. But we'll carry on. Race controls blowing up in the background, more incidents there. But now we're looking back at what will be Travis Hunt, Jason Spriggs, and Justin McLean. So some of our hard chargers of this race who are really making their way forward and continuing to do so at the moment. These guys are fairly inseparable at the moment. No moves being made, but they look like there is a lot going, a lot of heat in this battle pack.
Jason Spriggs is looking pretty good. Justin McLean, we've seen pull off a couple of moves, including getting by his own teammate, Wayne Sanderson. The comparison of those 9.5 liveries is sort of switching your phone app to night mode, dark mode, light mode versus dark mode. And this is a tiny bit further up the field with Ken Latta and Scott Gamble. They're now 4 seconds behind Jordan Ross. He's sort of one street away through each of these sections. Here they just get a look at his rear bumper. Wayne Walker in 4th. Has he been able to refine the pace that he had before the incident?
Yeah, it's a good question there, Aaron. And back up to 4th place, he's around the same pace as well the guys we're on board with right now, Ken Latta and Scott Gamble. So these blokes here battling hard for 2nd place while Jordan Ross is running away out the front. Not too far away there, but you know, we know what Jordan's got under the bonnet there, and that's not just the car, it's the driver's skill. He's a very, very good driver. So Ken Latta and Scott Gamble, Ken on your left, Scott on your right, battling it out for 2nd and 3rd, and Wayne Walker doing fairly similar times to the likes of those two up ahead of him. We'll see what happens when they come across the line this next time round, and see what they've managed to throw in there. Oh, again, it's Wayne Walker's actually 3 or 4 tenths faster than the guys in front of him, so he has got pace, and that safety car after that incident with the lap car has really helped Wayne play himself back in here. And I reckon there's some more to be said for Walker, this battle with the likes of Latta, Gamble and Walker at the moment. This is going to be one to watch as this race goes on.
They're all on pretty similar strategies as far as how much fuel they're going to need to take at their 2nd compulsory pit stop. The window for that, as far as fuel range, just about opens now. For anyone who considered taking it, it would put them off the lead lap. A lap here only just over 1:20. Very easy in a field this size to be half of the way to a lap down, take your pit stop and be that whole lap down, and that could put you in a position of jeopardy.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? That you've got to be really careful about how you time these things, and more than most tracks that we've raced in V8 Vets, where you plonk back into into the cycle of cars. Like, it's okay if you're with cars on the lead lap, but if you're a lap down, all of a sudden there's a lot more complexity that come with safety cars and that sort of thing. And this track has already thrown some of those up at us with those wave rounds too. So I'll tell you what, Ken Latta is not letting Gamble get away with anything, and Walker is just getting ever closer. And it looks like Darren Lobb behind is not doing laps anywhere near fast enough to threaten these guys. So this is a true fight for second through to fourth, and Lobb's going to have to find something. He's up 9 on where he started, but he's going to have to find something if he wants to be fighting for that podium position, which we have seen Lobb do a couple of seasons ago. He was up in and around the podium positions. He has definitely got it in him, but just he's got to fight a bit more tonight.
This is Justin McLean and Travis Hunt, 8th and 9th, pulling away from Wayne Sanderson, but Jason Spriggs has gotten through and he's getting out of here. So Hunt's lost 2 spots to Spriggs and McLean. Getting 10th, 2nd, 3rd and 4th as well. Here's Damien Cairns and John Gallen, 26th and 27th. They are some of the last cars on the lead lap. It would appear that maybe Paul Young and Michael Stewart, 29th and 30th, the last cars on the lead lap. But this is how much closer it's gotten for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Coming across just a tiny bit of lap traffic. Ken Latta, Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker all over him. Ken Latta had a slowdown last lap, and that checked up Scott Gamble and checked him up into Wayne Walker. Walker's also been flying along, and that's where some of this time has come. Do we have Ken Latta's last 3 laps? That could be instructional. And also hold your breath going into turn 8. Oh.
Yeah, that was
exactly
dicey.
how Wayne Walker would have liked. Now, pick which of these laps Ken Latta got a slowdown at turn 2.
Look, I'm not a man to play chance or luck, but I would put some money on lap 35, that 123.5, unless he's just gotten a hell of a lot of wheel spin all the way around. Race control still blowing up in the background there, so plenty still going on. But right now, this battle for second has, as you said, they've really popped off now with Gamble and Walker still really in here. But you've just got to be so careful not to push yourself so hard. There are quite a few slowdown opportunities around this circuit. We can just take a bit too much curb. Turn 2 being one of them, but a couple of these, staircase being others, that don't want to mount too much. These supercars can take curb, but iRacing makes sure you never get too much of an advantage. But in the background there, Walker is actually right on the back of Gamble, so if he can nail that exit here, out onto this back straight here, heading down towards turn 8, could there be a move done at turn 9? He's almost a bit too far away here at the moment. Gamble's done a really good job at maximising that exit.
And that's how they take turn 8. And the pointy end of the field here, everyone very, very precise. Still consistently a bit of lap traffic for them, but Jordan Ross is pulling away. He now leads by over 6 seconds. And it's not like 2nd, 3rd or 4th have any fuel advantage to play coming to a final pit stop here either. It's looking good for Jordan Ross, the way that it goes right now. Other battles through the field, so Spriggs got by with a move or 2, but Justin McLean, I think, just fractionally quicker than him when they get clean air. Though last lap, Travis Hunt remembered how to steer and found a couple of tenths to bring this group back together. I think Matt Scholes and Brad Noble are catching Wayne Sanderson just behind as well. This is a look at the footwork from McLean.
This is a great camera here. You know, we have a lot of our zoom cameras are of the driver. This is of the footwork being done. And McLean, we commented on this last season, he's hounding the back of Jason Spriggs at the moment as they come through turn 5 here at the moment. Into turn 6, he's looking to go for the move here. He will try, not quite get it done, but we're seeing the footwork that makes the work happen. Bit of left foot braking there when he doesn't need to use the clutch. Now we'll go down the back straight here. He should be full pedal to the metal, but McLean is wanting to get this move done because guess what? Just behind him, Travis Hunt wants to get the move done on McLean. So Justin McLean is not letting any opportunities go by. Springs going defensive now down to the turn 9. There was a car parked on the left-hand side. Another car parked down at turn 9. Carnage has ensued while we've been on board. What is going on? Another safety car.
Safety car number 3. There has been an incident. I'm going to suggest that starts all the way back at turn 8. There are 2 stopped cars. One in the runoff, one at the outside of turn 9. Andrew Rushworth has the flashing yellow light on the rain light position, which lets you know either that the speed limiter is on or the engine is dead. I think the engine is dead, and Jim Caperonis has tried to pull out of the way as best he can. The safety car has come right as we've passed the critical lap number, and a whole bunch of drivers had dived for pit lane already before the safety car was called.
Yeah, interesting. They might have seen that incident occur before we came across it there, and that they've decided to duck in knowing it might be a safety car. So this is where we talked about it earlier. This strategy comes into it and it makes a difference. So we're looking at Jordan Ross here now, seeing if he will duck in. We are past the critical lap number at the moment, so they can come in and make it to the end. It is going to be a pretty grueling run, but they can do it.
Now I think there are a couple of drivers that may have made a late dive or had a problem coming to pit entry because there was a black flag for Chad Lewis and Logan Barnett. And I don't think those were given by race control. I think the driver picked them up on their pit entry, whether it was speed or whether it was cutting the curbing on the way in. Jordan Ross, Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker and Ken Latta come in. We'll take a look at Chad Lewis's pit entry. Oh, do you know what? I think... So, okay, so maybe it's off tracks for Chad Lewis. Does he cut turn 9 trying to stay out of traffic? Whoa, no. Okay, so that's an off track. Barnett and Lewis both got them. Some people were getting slowdowns in that part of the racetrack as well. And if you carry a slowdown into pit entry, you get a black flag. Is there anyone staying out in this safety car? No, not really. Jordan Ross comes back out, still in the lead of the race. Ken Latta has dropped back down to 5th. Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker and Darren Lobb have all jumped Ken Latta. Darren Lobb stopped one lap earlier and that may have helped him.
Yeah, that's interesting as well because Ken Latta actually had the shortest pit stop of those guys up ahead of him, but that's fascinating there. But it looks like most people have pitted. In fact, I think we can safely say everyone has stopped that still has a car that's running at the moment, because we did talk about earlier, I think it was about that lap 33, lap 34 was your critical lap. So if we have more safety cars, I can't imagine we see anyone pit because everyone should be good on fuel till the end of this thing. So it's just going to be, I'm not going to say a sprint because we're only halfway through this, and I reckon it's already been a grueling one for most of the guys out there. But this is going to be, it's going to be almost an endurance race for these guys. So very curious to see how everyone handles it. I think in that top 5 or 6, we've got some movement that could happen there, and of course around the field we've been seeing some big moves that are going to really bring a bit more heat in the back end of this one.
We have just crossed at that halfway point at the ends of lap 39. Behind the safety car and with an unrestricted fuel tank size of over 130 litres, everyone making their stop now should be able to get to the end. Third safety car of the day. This is why Caperonis on the narrow line into turn 8 hits the wall. So what, Rushworth blows an engine in the braking zone separately at the same time on the same lap. They don't touch, and we get 2 cars out of this race.
Interesting. We're just watching on the onboard here. So he's hit the fence there, and he's got no steering at all to the right. So obviously, when he's hit the fence, it's potentially broken his steering there, and put him into the escape road. But in the background, as you said, David, Andrew Rushworth has broken an engine downshifting into into turn 9 there. So he can watch on board here now. He's going to go down, and there he is. He's blown the engine, and he's hit to a halt there on the outside of turn 9, avoiding any other incidents. So fascinating when you see 2 separate incidents like that occurred between turn 8 and turn 9, but unfortunately 2 dead cars to cause a safety car there.
Keeping an eye on the wave around situation for safety car number 3. We just have 29 cars on the lead lap right now. Looks like the first car off the lead lap is this driver, Ricky Hyde, in 30th. Darren Goosey, Stephen Kennedy, Greg Sharp, Paul Young in 34th. Christian Smart, 35th. Tim Mulford has been through pit lane 6 times. I think he's taken every single opportunity, and then a couple that maybe he wouldn't want to have.
I mean, look, we're only just halfway through this thing, and like Tim is on the back, I believe, for the lead lap, so he is still there despite all those pit stops. And you know what? Maybe this is the strategy. Who knows? Who knows how this race is going to pan out? But it could be damage. It could be. I know I saw him earlier on in pit lane with quite a bit of damage, but maybe this is just the ultimate strategy. Keep fueling up. You're at the back of the field. Play some of the incidents, and you might work your way through. So we'll have to keep an eye on Mulford as this thing plays itself out and see where he ends up. I mean, he's already plus 11. Excuse me. He will be not quite that far. Excuse me, my timing isn't showing exactly what it should, but he is plus on where he started, plus 7, and he will continue to rise potentially depending on how the strategy works for him.
Hey, let's have another one. Where's
For
Tim
old time's
Mulford's
sake, right?
crew? Yeah. We've seen more of his pit crew than his family this Christmas as he takes pit stop number 7. That car is not up on the jacks, though.
Interesting to take more fuel when we should be at that critical lap number.
He stopped 2 laps ago. What did he do 2 laps ago? Gee, okay, 33 seconds until Mulford's back out on track. Maybe he's just trying to clear a bit of damage if he needs to. There was a couple of crinkled panels on the car, but other than that, it's not the worst looking race car we've ever seen. Apparently we'll be going green at the end of this lap, so Tim Mulford's going to have to be a busy boy if he's going to come around to catch the tail of the field, which will now have closer to 33 or 34 cars on the lead lap. Jordan Ross will restart in the lead. Scott Gamble. Wayne Walker is back up into 3rd. Darren Lobb has managed to get 4th place by pitting the lap before the safety car came out. Ken Latter is back down into 5th. Brad Doble and Mark Poynton and Dean Flavel are some of our biggest movers in a chaotic race on the Adelaide streets.
Yeah, I think Darren Lobb might struggle. His fastest lap currently is 4/10 slower than those guys around him, but who knows, his setup might be geared towards the back end of this race. So we've seen things from him. He's up plus 10 and he's right in there to get a great result tonight. So I think we've got some of our big hitters up in this top 5 or 6 that we're used to seeing, and I reckon we're set up for a really good end to this one, David.
Those are the same shade cloths they set up at the Adelaide Oval. I wonder. We're about to get going racing again. The safety car is in to close off our 3rd safety car of this race, only just crossing the halfway point of 250 kilometres of racing to kick off a new season of RaceKraft V8 Vets. The defending champion leads us in towards turn 1, and everyone's just got to mind that tyre bundle at the inside of turn 1. Got to mind the curb on the outside of turn 2. Got to mind the braking zone into turn 4. Field comes through, but there are positions up for grabs with a compressed field. Travis Hunt has picked up a slowdown, but he's also picked up the radio to race control. He's got some fresh damage on the right front.
Would be a race
last corner on the restart here.
Last corner on the restart. What an odd spot to grab it with no passing for the control line. So this will be an interesting one to have a look at once we get past this first lap of action here under the safety car restart. Looks like he's not.
That's not good. It's not turning
too much. No, you are right, David. That front right is properly damaged as well there, so he potentially will have some steering damage pull-outs, and something serious has gone on there. He will probably start to drop positions as overtaking opportunities become available here. We'll see what happens coming through this final section here towards the last turn, but I have a funny feeling that Michael Stewart might have something to say about it in the last turn as well. No, he'll keep it there, but that damage on the front right of Travis Hunt is very clear to see.
Not great. Matt Brunt's already gotten by him, and there's a queue of some quick drivers here. So this is just as the safety car is pulled in. We're forming up, ready to go racing again. Travis Hunt is behind Jason Spriggs and ahead of Matt Brunt. Oh, gigantic check up there. And Travis Hunt goes into the back of Spriggs, but Spriggs is behind Lean and some others there, and Wayne Sanderson.
Hard one to unpack there, because you do get a bit of that as you come through the last turn where you're braking to then accelerate it out of the turn. So that's probably a race control special, that one, to unpack and see if anyone is to blame for that, or whether that's just an unfortunate incident for Travis Hunt and those around him. But back racing, back green again now for a couple of laps, and the field, I mentioned a bit earlier, the field's pretty spread out. We're looking at Brad Doble at the moment here. Going to flick. Scott Mackay is missing a key part of his car, being that front bumper. Not sure where that's come loose. Probably fair bets potentially on one of the tyre barriers around this circuit here at the moment, but he's still going on strong, trying to keep off Justin McLean. Although if I was Scott missing my bumper, I wouldn't want to be battling Justin McLean. McLean has been fighting hard all this race.
So a couple of gaps have already formed in the field around some of these incidents. Scott Mackay doesn't look like he's at his full pace, but Justin McLean can't get past. Travis Hunt is just trying to get back up to speed if he can. Now has Michael Stewart behind him. How much pace is that missing for Mackay? Looks like McLean's going to get him into turn 8. And then if you've got no front splitter, please be careful through turn 8. Please be careful through turn 8 if you've got no front splitter.
David, I think you need to say it a little bit louder for the third time, because Scott Mackay didn't hear you on that goose running at the supercar at Adelaide, because he went right in there. And you know, these supercars, they're pretty brutal machines.
He must be Brody Kostecki with DJR's crew.
Oh, yes. A very topical but good reminder of making sure you got the front splitter attached to your car, because they don't have much downforce, but they still have a little bit, these supercars, and it does matter. And we just saw a key example of why with Scott Mackay going in the wall. We're on board with Matt Scholes now through turn 1 and 2. This great move through this centre chicane, these first 3 turns, and it looks like he has scored a slowdown there, which he has. So we'll see how he clears this year. He might be able to slow off and clear it. He's got a little bit of space behind him. He's still trying to clear it here at the moment. Now heading around to the straight on the back here towards turn 8. He's still got it. He's got to get rid of it quick, otherwise he's not going to... And there it is. It is out of there, and he's still kept the guys behind. So something I found, David, in my testing around Adelaide in a couple of different cars was that the staircase section does give you the opportunity to clear that, as Scholz actually does snare the wall.
Ken Ladder and Darren Lobb side by side. Ken Ladder's trying to get that spot back, but he gets a hip and shoulder and sent into the wall, battling for 4th place with Darren Lobb, and now he's in a super tough spot. Just manages to get going without being drilled. He's not well pleased with it, and he's got a fair bit of damage being escorted that way. I'm sure that all begins sort of turn 8, turn 9, battling with Darren Lobb, and then it carries on a corner or two later, and Ladder runs out of space, or gets run out of space, and that's the argument that they're going to have.
Well, that's it. We're going to look at that replay now. So Ladder is on the outside here, and it's hard to tell from this camera angle how much contact there was, but it looks like there was definitely just a slight amount that has led to him being in the wall. Side by side, through turn 8 here, different camera view, going back a bit further. Ladder's going to go for the move down the inside here. Turn 9, they're going to go side by side. Well done there. So Stone Trek keeps it on the inside. Ladder around the outside. This will be really telling here. Yeah, slight bit of contact there on the just at the very latest part of that move, but again, this is that'll be a complex on race control. Go, they get paid the big bucks to do that, because I couldn't unpack that one easily.
So then the front bumper's fallen off for Ken Ladder. He's got Jeff Thomas and David Kirby, who've just passed him. There's a few other drivers lining up to do similar. This is Dean Logsdale. He's going to try to look around the outside. Deja vu. I've been in that place before. Luke Orman, David Nash. Yeah, you've got to feel out the damage, know where exactly you're weak, and you've got to do that carefully, and it makes you very vulnerable in the initial laps. An inch to Wayne Sanderson around at the final corner. You need to do that after you've won the championship.
And he was far enough down that front straight to be doing it around the championship trophy, wasn't he? Like, I was very far down, considering that was likely a last corner incident. We've just heard over the in-game comms that he's called for a race control review. We'll have a look at this replay here. So Sanderson having a battle here with Jason Spriggs has gotten into the back of him all the way out of the exit of that last turn and all the way through, and then Wayne has just spun it around and kept going. So unfortunate one that, and plenty of race control to look at there.
Jeff Thomas and David Kirby side by side heading in towards turn 8. The driver around the outside tries to yield, but there's chaos at the apex. They both park up, check themselves up gigantically. Dean Logsdale dives down the inside to turn 9, 3 wide. He's going to claim that bit of real estate, but good luck finding a car park once again.
And I think Cairns being involved in... Cairns has just received his black flag, which potentially might have been for incident points there, potentially. So, yeah, just lots going on. 3 wide for Logsdale there down the inside. Managed to make the double incident done there. And now Cairns is off the track there at the last turn. Up 15 on where he started, but it looks like there's another... Yeah, another incident's happened there. He's calling for race control, so something has happened, but he will continue on at this point.
So you've got to assume he's probably going for pit entry here. No, he's not. Mulford down the inside, locks up, and gets him. Then Mulford gets turned around by what could have been Chad Lewis or David Nash. Chad Lewis? Sorry, David Nash. How many more pit stops if that's a drive-through for Mulford? Numero 8. Which, of course, I definitely know the Spanish word for 8 and can count beyond 3.
take your word for it, David, because I can't count you. I can't personally count beyond 3 in Spanish, so I've got to trust on your word there. But we're now looking at, excuse me, sorry, this is Jeff Thomas here. Sorry, excuse me, back in the field after he has had that incident earlier on, so he's trying to work his way back through the pack here. Last turn coming through now to start will be his lap 50, and with a very damaged car behind him as well, so he shouldn't have to worry about behind. He has to worry about what's up ahead of him, fighting towards 17th there, which will be David Kirby up ahead of him. That's Ken Latta behind after that incident in the wall there around the outside of Stone Street. So now Thomas focusing on catching Kirby, trying to make some spots up here. Thomas has really not had the night he would have hoped for, minus 13 on where he started, and unfortunately being involved in some incidents. Now trying to fight his way back and start this championship off on a slightly better foot than where he's at the moment.
Looks like Ken Latta might be missing about 1.5 seconds a lap. He's pushed wide through turn 8. I've got some advice for turn 8 if you don't have a front splitter, but I don't know if anyone's listening. So he's not made that any better. Not teammates. Recovering Wayne Sanderson alongside Lauren Mackay ahead of Ricky Hyde. Mackay's only made 1 stop.
Interesting. I would have expected everyone will have made their second stop by now. That's very interesting, actually.
Okay, no, apparently he has made 2. But
okay,
4 wasn't a drive-through, was it? Okay, well, an interesting strategy nonetheless. Kai here, who almost spins himself, going through the staircase and going through turn 5.
I'll tell you what, based off the marbles I saw last night, V8 Pro, these cars really spit out some carnage on that outside. There we go. We see it at the exit there as well. There's plenty of marbles on the track of these guys. The further you go into this thing, the more precarious it gets to make moves to try and work your way forward. So track position is going to become incredibly important the more this goes on. We're looking at Scott Mackay here, who is leading this battle pack for 7th, 8th and 9th, but he's also missing his front bumper, so he's getting premium cooling, but probably subpar downforce through some of these really key sections of the circuit now as we come through to turn 4 at the moment. But although blinking a bit, seemingly is keeping off the likes of Doble, Scholes and Spriggs behind him.
It's been field spread like we rarely see in RaceKraft V8 Vets here at Adelaide as well. We kind of noted it a tiny bit through qualifying, where often 1 second is sort of the top 20 of the field, but it was only the top sort of 8 or 9 today, and pace spread a little noticeable now in the race conditions. Jordan Ross 121.666 last lap, and then by the time you get to 4th place they're doing 122s. By the time you get to Scott Mackay, Brad Doble, Matt Scholes here 7th, 8th and 9th, we're doing minute 23s. Okay, 2 Frog Leap Juice cars down the inside versus Michael Stewart. Gets slidey on the exit. Crisdale and Poynton go ahead.
Yep, I'd imagine a bit of teamwork going on there, you know, when one car goes past hot and wide, let the other through, but that's what you do. That's why you've got your teammates out there to help make it easy to work your way through the field. And Crisdale is now back where he started, but Mark Poynton is up 27 as we're on board with Michael Stewart, who's probably had not the night he'd hoped for. He was involved in that incident earlier that spun him around and set him back a bit further at turn 9, but here we go. He's got his VR set up. We love his greatest racing tracks in the world set up in the background there as well. So looks like he's been passed by Logsdale as well there in the turn 4 and now in the turn 5. So as we're on board, there is more action going on.
yeah, Poynton and Logsdale have gone past him. So Michael Stewart drops back one spot. If you're looking for Adelaide on the greatest tracks of the world, it's just above his head, in between Albert Park and Qatar, just below Singapore and to the left of Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
Nice spotto there, David. We always love that Michael Stewart lets us have a view at his map and where the track is on that map. And Adelaide, although we know it these days for supercars racing, has been known for Formula One, sports car racing, and in the modern age of supercars racing, it has got a lot of heritage and pedigree behind it, and awesome to see it here in the iRacing service. And I am truly enjoying being able to commentate it here with you tonight and watch it in action and see some of the sights and scenes I've seen in the flesh as well through some of these sections. So yeah, very cool to have it here. But watching Travis Hunt at the moment, I believe, with Matt Brunt behind, you know what, Matt Brunt is a car we've seen, who's just behind Travis Hunt here, dodge incidents, move around them, potentially get some damage himself, and still come out the other side. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see that bright yellowy green, or pine lime is probably the colour I call it, pine lime Camaro behind Travis Hunt, move up a couple more spots with his top 10, because he is just on a charge at the moment.
I mopped my floors and they ended up smelling pine lime. I'd be thrilled to get that done before everyone comes around this festive season. Yeah, still a bit of damage on Travis Hunt's car. I think it was not perfect, but he's dealing with it. Everyone took a lot of fuel at the third safety car, expecting to need to go the 37, 38 laps that were remaining. So they started this stint quite heavy, and we're some distance away from fastest lap of the race right now. Jason Spriggs gets a drive-through penalty for hitting Wayne Sanderson. Matt Brunt, 123 last lap, Poynton 21.8. Logsdale's picking off a couple more spots as well. So Logsdale's gone past Crisdale in the Dale battle. Poynton looking to the inside of turn 9, not enough overlap, but going quicker than Matt Brunt and Travis Hunt in the last couple of laps. And Logsdale's been quick as well, gaining some positions. Stephen Kennedy goes over the 17 incident points for a drive-through penalty, and then every 15 thereafter. Places drivers are getting off-track incident points, just dipping 2 tyres into the grass without going all 4 into the grass, and they're being given incident points for that in sort of turns 10 and 11. Jordan Ross is out here. Scott Gamble is in second place. Wayne Walker is in third, and they are millimetre perfect with negotiating turn 8. They're the only other drivers in the minute 21s at the moment, other than Jordan Ross, so the top 3. And then the rest of the field is how the race pace runs at the moment. Jordan Ross just crossing the start-finish line, then you're 4 seconds back to Scott Gamble and Wayne Walker. Darren Lobb got lots of spots with his strategy, then tangles with Ken Latta. He's now 12 seconds behind the lead of Troy Stone Street. Justin McLean. Scott Mackay didn't have a quick one last lap, but he's still got that damage. And so he's just leading a train here. with Scholes, Doble, and Spriggs with a drive through to serve. Travis Hunt and Mark Poynton both just got slowdowns across turn 2, so Travis Hunt's gone in with too much speed. Mark Poynton's followed him. And Matt Brunt and Dean Logsdale have been closing in to put pressure on these drivers. That might help them close further and put more pressure. Poynton staying to the left, serving the drive through. Checks up Brunt. Logsdale dives for the inside and picks off the spot. Logsdale's picked off Michael Stewart, Robert Crisdale, and Matt Brunt in the last couple of laps. Is that unlapping themselves there? No. Scholes passes Scott Mackay.
I'll tell you what, Mackay's doing a good job defending there without that front end. You just have to imagine, particularly through turn 8, he cannot be feeling the nicest through there, and the fact he's managed to maintain what was 7th, he's now 8th so well is impressive, as Spriggs is now into the pit with a black flag there, so he's in now, but Matt Scholes finally worked his way ahead of the damaged Scott Mackay, and now Brad Doble will have that problem ahead of him of trying to find a way through. Christian Smart now black flagged as well, so we're starting to see some iRacing penalties pop in here with those incidents, David, as you mentioned before, with that incident limit. That around here in Adelaide with some of the incidents, and there are still some grassy and off-track areas you can get, people are still facing that issue.
Wayne Walker's gone around from 3rd place. He's just gone into the wall. And there's another damaged car there. Christian Smart. Has Wayne Walker had another issue with a lapped car? How much damage has he got? Darren Lobbs all over him. Someone's turned around at turn 9. When it rains, it pours at Adelaide. Logsdale, I think, has had a go. And Travis Hunt at turn 9 caused another little bit of a traffic jam, but it all begins to clear eventually.
It's barely cleared here. They're still going side by side, trying to make it through this section here. Ken Ladder missing his front bumper, still trying to make it through. But as you said, David, when it rains, it pours. And oh my goodness, a couple of incidents here on this current lap that have really started to spice things up here. And Wayne Walker, who we thought could have been on for a win. We're going to look at a replay here now. Christian Smart. So this could be the... So he's going to come through here, heading around to begin his sprint to the end of the circuit. He gets contact with the car in front, who's bounced off the tyre wall and hit him. Christian Smart sitting there and waiting. Wayne Walker's going to come around turn 9 now, through turn 10 and 11. Smart waiting, might be waiting for an opportunity to chuck a Huey here. There's Wayne. But no! Smart, by the looks of it, has backed out in front of Walker and caused that incident. It's hard to see, but...
He steered the wrong way.
Yeah.
He's tried to steer and gone the wrong way. He didn't mean to do that. He was trying to stay to one side, but he's forgotten the steering's backwards when the car's backwards. And he has drilled Wayne Walker, honestly, pretty hard. And then at the same time, Travis Hunt was battling with Logsdale. Now there's been another issue for Travis Hunt. That's the second Travis Hunt's locked up the rears. He was spun at turn 9 the lap before. Now he's blown the engine in the downshifts at turn 9. He's lap 60 of 78 for RaceKraft V8 Vets at the Adelaide Street Circuit. And we have our 4th safety car of the night. Well, we were guessing 2 to 4, but it's going to be Dolly Parton 9 to 5.
Yeah, look, I think... Oh, God. We've still got some good racing laps left here. And look, if Wayne Walker doesn't have too much damage, he could still be in at a shot. Although, looking at that thing, the front and the back are both pretty dinged up, but if he comes in here with the safety car, his whole first race is gone. So he's going to have to make this thing work. But one thing I will say is that the likes of Scott Gamble was doing some pretty consistent times compared to Jordan Ross, so maybe a chance at having a crack at the win here. But we're just watching now, all the cars file through past the pit entry there, even Scott Mackay with that damaged front end, and his spotter will be able to tell him that. No one's coming in. First driver, Michael Stewart, the first driver to come in. So most guys are going past, but Michael Stewart has come in and taken the opportunity to potentially repair damage, put tyres on, something.
He's also served a drive-through penalty in this race, so it's the fourth time pit lane for Michael Stewart. Looks like Barney's standing on him. Mega Barney, that's not quite what it is. We've got Ken Latto damage, bringing his car in as well. 13 seconds is just a tiny bit longer than the tyre change for Stewart, so maybe they did a tiny bit of other work as well, but he will get new tyres. I think I'm seeing the drive-through time loss is about 20 seconds. Add 10 for a new set of tyres, and if you looked 30 seconds back on your Delta, he would have seen this pocket of air, and he would have seen 25th place. Everyone ahead of him has stayed out, so Jordan Ross wants track position, Scott Gamble wants track position, Wayne Walker wants track position, Darren Lobb gets back towards the leaders in that fourth place. Who else does this benefit? I think some of the quick drivers that were delayed, like Crisdale, like Jeff Thomas. Remember, Thomas was in the top 5 for quite a bit. He qualified very well. He raced well initially. For him and his teammate Travis Hunt, things are unraveling at Adelaide. Okay. Down car. Damien Cairns goes to pit lane. You'll never guess who else has just pitted.
Who's that? Christian Smart.
Tim Mulford.
Yeah, look. And Tim Mulford as well, okay. I guess that one would have been a good bet to put some money down on, because we've seen him in every single safety car. Any opportunity he's gotten, he's in the pits. But I think that it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. You know, we've got Jordan Ross was doing some decent times out the front of the field, but I think that Scott Gamble was equaling or bettering his times lap on lap, albeit it was a few seconds behind. So this could create an interesting battle for the front of the field here, with particularly all of these front guys not going in. Now, Wayne Walker probably isn't going to cause too much of an issue, as now we're looking at Tim Mulford with his strategy game he's playing.
Count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pit stops for Tim Mulford. Apparently there's 9. It's 5 by lap 21 and then 3 after. That's 8. It's an interesting strategy, but again, every time he's taking long stops. Like, I'm seeing that his last stop was 34 seconds. How long does it take to change roll bars in these cars?
Interesting. We're hearing it might be damage repair, it could be car changes. It's just, but at this point of the race, it's a bit like if we believe he hasn't used his fast repair. So at this point of the race, it's kind of win it or bin it, isn't it? Like, you use your fast repair and you go, whatever happens, happens. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see where Mulford pops out. So we're just hearing in the background here that the safety car is going to reduce speed shortly, and we're going to let lap cars by, so we should get racing fairly shortly. But what this leaves us with is Jordan Ross, Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker, Darren Lobb and Troy Stonestreet as our top 5, all fairly deserving top 5 getters and podium getters. And it's just going to come down to who's got the best car and the most grit to get through the back end of what's been a pretty full-on race here so far.
The milestones for our safety car. It's already done more laps than Paul Warwick or Blake Delaney, because it crosses the start-finish line this time. The safety car moves ahead of Michael Whiting and into 41st position. in this race. We're going to need a lot more safety car if it's going to do enough laps to pass Jim Caparonis, though. Still waving around. Quite a few drivers are going to take that. Chad Lewis, Damien Kent, and Simon Haynes were the 3 that I saw go through. I think that's Ray Smith there. Oh yeah, I can spot Simon Haynes in that group. His car looks like Greg Sharp's, except more teal and shiny. Emerald, even.
Yep. Yeah, I look forward to getting used to all the new liveries in this season. I appreciate those who have kept them the same because that helps my memory. But I'm also loving seeing the new different varieties of the liveries that everyone has out there, and we'll get to know them and love them as the season goes on. We've just heard safety car's going to increase speed, getting the cars ready to restart here. So Jordan Ross leads, not something that is uncommon in this category. Jordan has shown his speed, he's a multiple champion, he knows how to get this done around here. But Scott Gamble, Wayne Walker behind him, can they get something done? It'll be very curious to see how they go here. Everyone's going to be wanting to make a good start to this championship. It's a long one, we've got plenty of rounds ahead of us, but you know, I just feel like when you get into round 1, you want to give a strong start to really make it count. We do have drop rounds in this championship, but you want to make every round count as best you can. Safety car's pulling away, and we're going to wait and see when Jordan decides to take this field away.
First car on new tyres is way back in the pack. Michael Stewart gave up a whole heap of track position from 13th down to 25th. What he's got is about 20 lap newer tyres than everyone in front of him. A bit more than Paul Young as well. He's only 3 spots ahead of Tim Mulford, who also has new tyres. So there's that. Tim Mulford's probably been through many, many Dunlops. They'll be giving him one of those little punch cards, and the 10th set is free, hopefully. Pace car in. Jordan Ross has been pretty consistent at gunning it at the apex of the final corner here, and I think that works out pretty well for everyone involved anyway. He gets a good jump, being able to take his own line, and he leads Scott Gamble and Wayne Walker, who didn't pit, didn't take any repairs. He got sent into the wall. We're about to find out if that car is in raceable shape ahead of Darren Lobb and Troy Stonestreet.
That's it. Well, there's a lot of cars out here sporting some battle scars from the 63 laps we've done around here so far, and the scary thing is there's another 15 to go for these guys, so we'll see how they go. All cars have peeled through turn 1, 2 and 3 that are remaining on track anyway. That's Scott Mackay there making early moves without that front bumper, and Mark Point as well past Brad Doble. So we saw Mackay was struggling earlier on when the race was under just regular pace, but after the safety car, apparently his tyres have come back to life and he's pushing on. So he's got those positions back from turn 8 here, down to the turn 9. Couple of passes being made in the background there, 2 and no incidents. Good to see for this late safety car restart.
On your timing column, anything more than 10 seconds will let you change all 4 tyres on these cars, and we are at lap 65 just beginning now, and with everyone last stopped 38, 39 with safety car number 3. We've had safety car number 4, but Ross didn't pit. Ross taking some heat out of those tyres, burning the fuel down over the previous stint. He's going hell for leather with the new fastest lap of the race, just 1 second clear of Scott Gamble. Wayne Walker is not keeping up with the top 2 and is feeling some pressure. The left rear of that car, perhaps that's where the damage is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see some of the stories that come out of this one. Whoever finishes, and you know, we might get to interview some of these guys on the podium later on as well, but be curious to see their experience of their first league race around here, as Walker has gone incredibly defensive on Darren Lobb. So Lobb's pace earlier wasn't quite up to the likes of that top 3, but with with the damage that Walker has, Lob might have a chance here to snag a podium to kickstart this return season to V8 Vets. So I reckon he can sniff a third place here, and we know he is used to being on the podium with a bit of extra pace to finish this one off. I think he is seeing an opportunity here, and he is more than willing to take it. And coming across the line here, start lap 65, he's hungry, he's hunting.
The closer I look at Wayne Walker's car, the more askew panels I see. The right front, the right rear, the front left, just about every corner actually. It's not in great shape, and you can see the pressure that Darren Lobb is able to apply on him. Troy Stonestreet and Justin McLean are closing in. The battles between 7th, 8th and 9th have actually kept them a little bit away from the lead, so field spread every single time we go racing once more, and Scott Mackay with that damage still on the nose of his car with Doble, Chris Dale, Matt Brunt behind. Dean Flavel's got a group with Jason Spriggs, who's just cleared a slowdown, and look how much they're all over him having just cleared that slowdown. John Gallen, Wayne Sanderson, Lorne McKee just there. The field works through turn 8 just now towards the braking zone at turn 9. There's Spriggs, looking a lot like how Wayne Walker looked last season. Paul Young to the inside, muscling. Lorne McKee. Oh, and he might get a little bit of muscle back.
We saw Paul's probably got a bit of frustration and red mist developing underneath that virtual helmet of his, because he has definitely got the pace to be further up than where he is, and has had a couple of incidents in this race, so he'll want to be getting up there. Logsdale now side by side of the turn 1. Hey, there we go. Logsdale has gotten past there. Smart Racing through the centre chicane. Albeit not quite over. No, it is over. Logsdale is going to continue on where he's going. He will carry on there. No incidents, but Smart Racing to make sure no one gets taken out of this one.
Yeah, to the final corner. It'd been a great place to sit. There was that battle going on with Logsdale diving down the inside. There was Paul Young keeping his elbows out once again. Looks like Wayne Walker's been into the fence. Darren Lobb wants the podium. He's down to the inside at turn 9. They're both super tight to the apex of this hairpin. Troy Stonestreet's like, can I work my way through here? Dean Logsdale has picked up a black flag from our V8 Vets race control.
Yeah, interesting to unpack that one and see what happened. But yeah, Lobb, we were just saying it a couple of laps ago, and well, he's made it come true. He's made his way past Wayne Walker and into third place, where we had seen him a couple of times. He's up 11 on where he started. Wayne Walker nursing a fairly damaged car at the moment, and with the likes of Stonestreet and McLean right behind him. McLean is someone that we have watched methodically work his way through this field. If I was Walker, I'd be watching my rear mirror going, who's coming next? So hopefully for Wayne, he doesn't drop too much further down, but he's got some serious competition behind waiting to make their way through.
I like to say rear mirror as if there's a possibility during the race that you might look in the vanity mirror instead.
Well, I mean, they might want to do, check the fold down, the sun visor mirror on the way through. There's a bit of time between turn 7 and turn 8 to make sure you're looking good on your way through to finish this one.
The Lamborghini Countach has a removable mirror from the passenger side for no reason in the 1980s. Turn 8 is always a source of excitement. Paul Young has a black flag, and what is happening? Exiting turn 8, that looks like Sanderson. Gigantic damage on the 9.5 Sim Sports car. Paul Young on the other side of the fence already had black flag, and this looks like 2 stopped cars on the run down to turn 9 as well. Hyde's got a meatball and it's limping. Lorne McKee's got a black flag. Dean Logsdale's serving his. Ricky Hyde can't even make the left-hander at walking pace. You've got 2 cars that look like they're going nowhere in the form of Sanderson and Young.
Wow, that's a big one in the form of what we're used to seeing in turn 8 incidents at that high speed. We're just waiting to see what race control's going to do here. There's obviously some people with damage that need these things repaired. Right now, we're still racing. No safety car call has been made. So, Walker remains 4th. Darren Lobb up the road in 3rd. And Walker is still trying to fight off as in the background there, McLean just nicks a bit of wall on the way through turn 8. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. But they're going to... Safety car has been called. Safety car has been called with 10 laps to go. Or what'll be 9 as they come around to take the safety car. So, we are going with 9 laps to go, a sprint to the finish, and as you said, David, that's Dolly Parton 9 to 5. We have got 5 safety cars here in our 78 lap, 250 kilometre race here in Adelaide.
My oh my, when this track bites, it bites very hard. Turn 8 is so fast. At the top of 5th gear, small mistakes, small contact becomes giant accidents. We've seen that a couple of times now. We've seen it again for Wayne Sanderson and Paul Young, and they've called in a race control asking about the run into turn 8. So I think it all begins a long way before where the 2 broken and beaten cars have ended up.
Well, it usually starts beforehand, doesn't it? And it's at that battle out of turn 6 and 7 side by side. Neither one wants to give up turn 8, and that's when you see the culmination or the explosion, the build up from the catalyst that starts that. So be curious to see how that all goes as the field comes under the safety car now. It is neutralized, which what'll be, oh goodness, and we just have to shout out that one Mr. Tim Mulford is back in the pits and getting service again. We're not quite sure why, but he'll set the record for most pit stops in V8 Vets history, I reckon.
Well, this is just 11 seconds. I reckon that's 4 fresh tyres and no more work to be done. A couple of sad, sorry cars on pit lane there. Tied. Smart.
One thing I will say is Tim Mulford is still up on where he started, +7 according to my timing. So even with these pit stops, he's still working his way through the field. Might be able to pick up a few more on this safety car restart with some fresh tyres.
Wave rounds happening now. Looking like... get this wave around, and then maybe we'll try to go green at the end of the lap. It's not going to be a 1 lap dash, but it's not going to be 10 laps. We might be looking at 6 or 7, which is apparently a funny number now. I'm lost. Closer to V8 Vets than not, that's for sure. There goes a wave around or 2. Who's lucky enough to get back onto the lead lap? I don't think anyone. I think everyone who was off the lead lap was more than 1 lap down. Simon Haynes goes around from 2 laps down to 1 lap down. So, Paul Young behind Wayne Sanderson. Sanderson loses it himself, collects Paul Young, who gets sent into the wall on the opposite side.
Jeez, that's an unfortunate one.
Let's go on board, approaching turn 8 at 230 kilometers an hour. Yeah, just snaps in a way that we've seen so much understeer through there, but I haven't seen anyone lose the rear like that. Sanderson's already got a tiny bit of damage on the left rear. He's got 30 lap old tyres.
Very odd spot there for it to let go though. Like he's already in that almost straight acceleration zone. Like just, I'm sure he was just as surprised as the likes of Young, Hyde and those coming behind, right? But yeah, it's just very unfortunate there for all of them. Young probably being the biggest victim and all that in the wall as well and unable to go on, and Sanderson as well. But now we have a sprint to the end of this thing. we will go green on what will be lap 72 of this, and 7 to go. So Jordan Ross will maintain the lead and continue to go, David.
So, and what can Darren Lobb do? Is he going to be a little bit of a buffer back there in 4th place? Jordan Ross, Scott Gamble and Darren Lobb to get away. Troy Stone Street in 5th there will look to make some moves. He's a little bit more blue than previous seasons. So I think Stone Street's blue, Sharp is still grey, and Haynes is emerald from the WK&P cars that I've spotted so far this season. Safety car is in. Jordan Ross is doing the predictable thing, but it's worked 4 times. It'll work the 5th to get us racing again with 7 laps to go in the Adelaide street circuit.
And you know what, Gamble managed to stay pretty close on this run. Like, he didn't let him get away too far up that last turn. Jordan has, in fairness, gotten a really good run through turn 1, 2 and 3, and just created enough gap. He doesn't have to worry too much about getting the tyres up to temp, getting himself back into a rhythm. So he will continue to fire away out the front of the field here. The interesting thing will be to see who's got any pace to try and take some more positions with a few laps to go here on this 5th restart. So Ross, Gamble, Lobb, Walker and Stone Street are the top 5. Walker probably arguably the most under threat with some of that damage that he has, and we've already seen him pass by Lobb with some mistakes coming there, but Jordan Ross is already pulling away further. In the background here though, I talked about Walker being most under threat. Looks like Stone Street might be the most under threat by McLean.
I think I've now shifted to McLean and Poynton as my drivers to watch inside of the top 10. Mark Poynton has made up 33 positions so far this race, and he's just kept picking off more as he's gone. There's an opportunity for more here with Walker and Stone Street not coming up to pace as quickly as they'd like. Turns 1 and 2. McLean gets a nasty ride there. Oh, Walker goes wide, tags the wall. Stone Street gets wheel spin. Well, if there was a straight panel still on Wayne Walker's car, I think he might have just done the passenger side door.
We've just heard in our expert analysis from the booth that the front left fender is okay, but most of the car has been bumped, hit, dented or dinged for Wayne Walker, so he is nursing a fairly damaged car to the end of this thing, where at a track where aerodynamics matter, and here we go, speaking of aerodynamics matter, Ken Ladder, 23 down, that front bumper, unfortunately his damage was taken after that final pit stop, and that's meant he's been nursing that front bumper being lost, but he has dropped all the way down from what was potentially a top 3 performance for him tonight. So yeah, we're looking at some of these guys who probably had nights that are not very favourable, not very nice for them. Logsdale being one of them, nearly taking out the car in front.
Now he's spun around trying to rejoin on the grass and on the marbles at the final corner. Too hot through the penultimate little kink, pushing wide, locking up, not making the final corner, and losing a whole heap of spots just as he was trying to move back forward. Ken Ladder comes in lane to fix it. This is something else that was happening, so Ken Ladder's picked up more damage there.
That is a very hard hit at turn 5. I'm surprised he's still going with, I know it's tyre wall he's ended up in, but hearing in the background he's gone to the pits, but that was just, I was surprised he hadn't had any steering damage. It looks like the lights of contact, but it's a tyre wall, but that sort of contact in there with already damage to the car, yeah, he looks like he's copped it.
Of his contact with Darren Lobb, where he was half a car length behind, and he thought there'd be room around the outside that never was quite there, and without a great deal of contact, he's just gone, oh, there's not space where I wanted to go, and now I'm headed towards the wall. So, and that's given him yet more damage, unfortunately. Crossing the line here. 4 laps to go for everyone. Jordan Ross with a 2-second lead over Scott Gamble. Darren Lobbs just behind him. Wayne Walker under less pressure than he's been at some other points in this race because of Troy Stonestreet battling Justin McLean. Mark Poynton has himself another spot.
That's an impressive. We've seen some impressive drives tonight, but Mark Poynton absolutely carving through the carnage and keeping himself clean to be where he is now in 7th, and looking at him now behind the likes of Stonestreet and McLean. Plus 34 is an excellent effort around here, and anyone who's driven this circuit or raced around here can attest to that, real life or sim racing. So he will probably be keen to try and pick up another spot or two here with a few laps to go. But honestly, he's done a great job as it is. And speaking of picking off spots, McLean is still not giving this one up. We're round 1 here with plenty of rounds to go, but McLean's like, I'm starting this championship off with a great record, with a clean record, so to speak, and he wants this top 5 on McLean, on Stonestreet. He wants to make this happen.
Matt Grunts, the driver, just a little bit wide in the background, battling David Kirby. And so just ahead, Jeff Thomas slots in behind, heading towards turns 1 and 2. Mind the tyre bundle on the inside, mind the track limits on the outside. Matt Scholes hasn't, David Nash hasn't. Another set of slowdown penalties to be served. The battle continues on. Thomas just in behind Grunt. He seems to place his car slightly defensively through here. Oh, and looking to the inside for a dive, not far enough up. These are the kind of things Jeff Thomas is thinking about.
Oh, I mean, Jeff Thomas was in the top 10 of the championship last season. Like, he knows he's got that pace. I mean, we saw him up far further in the race. He qualified a lot better than where he is. And in the, we'll throw to Dean Flavel and John Gallen now side by side in the turn 8. Okay, we're gonna do this. Okay, it can be done. I doubted it earlier, but it can be done. John Gallen very eager to get past. Jason Spriggs in the background there wanting to make it happen as well, with Dean Flavel on the outside getting tagged slightly. They'll still go side by side through turn 10 and then into turn 11. Flavel will hold that position, but my goodness, that was brave from John Gallen, side by side through turn 8.
Yes, it was. Michael Stewart's now just behind this. He's got some of those fresher tyres for whatever that matters. Greg Sharp and Chad Lewis just there. Manny battle on the podium. Scott Gamble and Darren Lobb. Lobb just getting a tiny bit of it back on the last lap, but overall they've been pretty equal. There are some old tyres in this field though. They're 37 laps old for Gamble, 38 laps old for Darren Lobb. For Mark Poynton, I believe they're 44 laps old. He pitted at the very, very beginning of the critical lap number, and he's still up there battling for spots versus Justin McLean versus Troy Stonestreet, who's closed in on Wayne Walker. This could also be another group to watch approaching the final lap of the race. Good news, we're not going to go time certain. We had 2 hours 45 minutes for this race, and it's only just going to go longer than 2.
Yeah, lucky that with the safety cars and all.
Under the last safety car, if we hadn't restarted and we'd done 80 k's an hour behind the safety car, we still would have gotten in before time certainty.
That's good. To finish our first race of the season in its entirety is excellent, and let these guys battle it out. Final lap now, as all the cars stream across that start-finish line. Barry is absolutely waving that arm like he knows how. And we're seeing a variety of different dates of cars come through here. Scott Mackay's managed to keep himself in 9th place, even with the front bumper missing on that thing. Now we're looking back at the likes of Stonestreet and bit of reprieve as they come onto this last straight for their final run through to the flag.
Jordan Ross has made no mistakes. Wayne Walker has been unlucky at times. Scott Gamble doing okay for 2nd place. Darren Lobb's come through the field to that 3rd place, but as we go into turn 9 for the final time, Stonestreet just trying to block out McLean. And Poynton, Matt Scholes, Scott McKay, Brad Doble are going to be the final cars inside of the top 10. But with 40 races to his name in V8 Vets before today, the 41st for the defending champion is going to be a win at our first visit to Adelaide. Jordan Ross from Scott Gamble, from Darren Lobb. Looks like Justin McLean couldn't get the dig that he wanted right at the end there. There'll be a couple of other battles to close this one out as well. Jeff Thomas
still
and
going
Luke
on there.
side by side.
Yep, it sounds like someone might have just blown an engine in the background there as well, but everyone fighting to the last moment. And speaking of his, Simon Haynes, your cousin, and Darren Goosey also fighting it out there. And is that a Wild Tip Malford I spy in the foreground of that shop there as well? So everyone coming across the start-finish line for what would have been a pretty grueling... It's been a pretty hot night in the real world in Australia here. We've had some very warm nights across most cities in Australia, so everyone would have been really fighting it. But, David, your winner after all that, Jordan Ross.
Well, he was quick. He takes the fastest lap of the race, and on every restart that he led, they couldn't catch him. But Wayne Walker could feel unlucky. Contact with lap down cars a number of times. Am I to say 3 times, or was it just twice? And despite all of that, Walker's still come to 4th place. Darren Lobb up those 11 spots onto the podium. Mark Poynton 34 spots up. He started 2 corners back from 42nd on the grid. There's one of the pieces, one of the plaques around the track there, the Ayrton Senna plaque. This is the results. Now that everyone has taken the checkered flag, what you don't want to do is get the incident point limit on the final lap. That'll cost you. Jordan Ross, Scott Gamble, Darren Lobb from Wayne Walker, Troy Stone Street, Justin McLean, Mark Poynton, Matt Scholes, Scott McKay, and Brad Doble. In 11th was Robert Crisdale from David Kirby. Then Matt Brunt in 13th place, 17 positions gained. David Nash in 14th, 19 positions gained. Jeff Thomas, 10 positions down from inside the top 5 to that 15th place finish. Luke Allman nearly pinching a spot off him on the line as well. John Gallen, Jason Spriggs, Dean Flavel, and Michael Stewart was 20th.
And now we go into the back half of our field here. So Greg Sharp in 21st, Chad Lewis in 22nd, Damien Cairns 23rd, Dean Logsdale in 24th, Lorne McKee in 25th, Tim Mulford, who was our strategy eye for the race, in 26th.
10 stop Timmy, that's what they're calling him.
10 stop Timmy. He certainly made advantage of his pit stop crew this race. Darren Goosey in 27th. Simon Haynes, our first car lap down, in 28th. Your cousin David. Wayne Sanderson, 29th. Ray Smith in 30th. And now we're heading towards some of our lapped cars and damaged cars here. So 31st was Ricky Hyde. 32nd, Kenneth Latta. 33rd, Christian Smart. Paul Young in 34th. Travis Hunt, 35th. And now I believe we're just about in the realm of some of our non-finishers for this one, which will be 36, Stephen Kennedy, Logan Barnett, Andrew Rushworth, Brian Minogue, Jim Caparonis, and a few more to cap out this one. Michael Whiting, Blake Delaney, and Paul Warwick all being involved in some incidents a bit earlier in the race and not finishing this one. What a race here, David. There was plenty going on these last 78 laps.
Absolutely. 5 adventures for the safety car as it completed 13 laps of today's 78. My oh my, it's an exciting track. We love to have it, but you got to get the dosage right, because that is how it can often race here. Got some of our podium to come along. Race winner Jordan Ross. How you going? 250 Ks, 5 safety cars. Big deep breath.
Totally worn out. Yeah, looking forward to the Chrissy and New Year's break. So a few weeks away from the sim would be awesome. But yeah, wicked race, awesome track. But yeah, it's a long way 250 around here.
We've just seen a big sample size of the challenges of this racetrack, but from your perspective, what needed just a little bit of caution?
Obviously the old turn 1, turn 2 little chicane, but thankfully I didn't get a slow down there all night. And then, yeah, I think it's turn 11. Turn 11's quite tricky. You've got to be yeah, pretty careful there because there's a wall that sticks out, and a couple of times I got really close. And mate, turn 8's probably one of the better corners on the track. It's yeah, really awesome corner when you get it right, and thankfully it probably doesn't punish you like it should. If you nudge the wall on the outside, I clipped it a couple of times and got away with it, so it's not too bad.
This says that you, Scott Gamble, and Troy Stone Street are the only drivers to finish with 0 incidents.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty hard. Unless you cut that chicane, it's pretty hard to get a incident point round here unless you smack a wall real hard or whatever. But wasn't setting out for that, but I'll take it.
And we saw a really long second stint. How did you feel the tyre wear go? Because you're not going to pit with those safety cars. The track position is far too vital, but it doesn't seem like new tyres were as beneficial here as they would be for, say, a late safety car at Phillip Island or Road America or something.
Yeah, I think maybe the those safety cars saved me a little bit at the end. I was actually, usually when you're in front and you're getting safety cars, you're not liking it, but I actually was okay with it because yeah, the longer the stint went on, probably I was using my tyres maybe a little bit more than Scott behind. I ended that, I think we did 30 or 30 something laps on that final stint, and I ended with about 46% on the right rear, so I was starting to get through my tyres. So if it had gone green the whole way, possibly would have started getting tyre warnings. So yeah, long stint, but yeah, probably lucky we got those safety cars in the end for our tyres.
Fantastic. Looking forward to this season continuing in the new year, and wishing you the best of luck this season of RaceKraft V8 Vets.
Yeah, thanks guys, and have a great Christmas and New Year's, and we'll see you on the other side.
Jordan Ross, our race winner. We've got second place, Brock.
Absolutely. Scott Gamble, welcome to the comments box, mate, and well done on an excellent start to your season. Look, talk us through new track in the sim, new first event of the season. How did you tackle this one, mate?
Yeah, how you going, Brock? It's a tough track, isn't it? But gee whiz, it's fun. And I think for me, I looked at it and I was like, I didn't have that early outright pace that Jordan had. Like, he was absolutely flying early and on those green tyres, and it'd take sort of 5-6 laps and it would come back. So my theory was, I'll look after my tyres, right? But we had that many bloody safety cars that it ended up making that null and void. So that was how I was going about it, try to limit the slowdowns, even though I probably had 3 or 4 of them, and just, yeah, get 0 incidents. And it sort of came to us from there. There was a few incidents that helped us out. I felt really sorry for Wayne, I didn't want him to get P2, but he deserved P3. So that was really unfortunate what happened to him. But, you make the most of it, and Darren did. So, congratulations to Jordan. He was absolutely stellar tonight.
No, great, Scott. And look, mate, I know last season you talked pretty honestly with us about how you'd had some struggles and you've been finding it hard to find the motivation. So does an event like this at a new track give you a new lease on life to take on season 26 and get back in the sim and feel good about it?
It's interesting you say that because, it was a month ago that I was just saying to the lads at ERT, like, hey, I'm getting really done with this. And, Vets wasn't really kicking along for me anymore. And then I had a real good look at myself and thought, maybe I just need a project. So I started up the V8 Masterclass, and that has really sort of invigorated me, gave me something to aim towards just to help the community give back to the V8 drivers, and a lot of them are taking it on board. And, that's been something that's kept me motivated for this season. And, there might be races I'll miss because I'll probably go fishing or something. But at the end of the day, when I do race, I'm going to go out there, try my best. And then I can at least walk away saying, hey, I gave it my best shot. And, that was good fun. And it was good fun tonight. There was a bit of strategy in it. So, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
We love to hear that here in the comms box, and I'm sure the V8 Vets guys will as well, mate. And whether you're here racing with us or you're off having a fish, enjoy it. But before we let you go, do you want to shout out anyone, thank anyone before the new year?
Yeah, I do. I want to shout out to Dan Hall over at Logitech. He's a sponsor here of V8 Vets. He obviously does the Logitech Pro, but without Logitech on board doing that sort of stuff, they, just the man himself, he's a fantastic bloke. Like, he'll give you his heart if he could. So, I encourage anyone who's looking for any peripherals or gaming gear, really support your sponsors, support Logitech. So big shout out to them. A few changes over at ERT. I'm sure you will hear about it and see it. But, looking forward to the new year with Evolution Racing Team. They're a great bunch of lads and really enjoy racing with them on a Thursday night. So, and thank you very much to you guys. I look forward to watching. I watched your broadcast last night in the V8 Pro Series. That was absolutely awesome. It was really good broadcast, some amazing camera angles there. Again to Jordan, Darren, unfortunate Wayne. But still good consolidated to get to P4. So he'll probably be okay with that. And, to the rest of the drivers, thank you very much. And, hopefully see you next year. We've got a bit of a break, haven't we?
That's it, mate. Have yourself a great festive season. We'll see you for round 2 and look forward to seeing you back this one up.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
And that there was Scott Gamble, our second place getter. Unfortunately, Darren Lobb not in the lobby, but an action-packed night tonight here at the Adelaide Parkland circuit.
Yeah, my goodness, and the trend of Wayne Walker winning new race tracks is broken by the defending champion, Jordan Ross, who kicks us off with a win. Thinking driver of the day stuff, Rocky?
Look, I think oh my goodness, there are some very worthy recipients today, and I think I've floated in my mind the likes of a Mark Poynton, a Matt Scholes, even like a Darren Lobb. Although we didn't get to chat to him, great result tonight coming back into the league. There's a few of them there that have had some great results. I'm open to what you think there as well, David.
I'm thinking Darren Lobb, because he also made a good strategy call. He pitted a lap before a few other folks around that safety car that jumped him some of the spots towards the podium that he then held on to. Are we happy to do that?
Absolutely. Welcome back to Split 1. Good strategy call, good pace. I reckon, yep, Darren Lobb, M1 Used Cars driver of the day.
There we go. M1 Used Cars, supporter of the Balin Stewart Foundation, sponsoring driver of the day today for round 1 of the new season. goes to Darren Lobb. There is a little bit of a break between now and when the season continues in the new year, so we'll look forward to that. A trip down the highway to Shell V-Power Motorsport Park at the Bend. Decent track and another 40k an hour pit lane speed limit, Brock.
I think we're in for a very different race to what we saw tonight, but still an absolute banger as always with the RaceKraft V8 Vets Championship. And as you said, still with a 40k an hour speed limit and a very different pit entry. So I'm looking forward to it, but everyone have a great festive season. Looking forward to it.
Better late than never, we are going to get our full podium. Darren Lobb, the M1 Used Cars driver of the day, joins us. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's nice. Thanks, boys. It took me a while to find you guys. I had to dive into a race control channel who was worried I was going to give them a serve, but luckily enough they could give me access rights and get you in here for a chat. And I was lucky enough to just catch the end of Drive of the Day, which is great. That's a nice surprise. Welcome back into Vets.
No idea what role you have or don't have that the other drivers did or didn't have, but hey, it's weird like that. 5 safety cars, so 78 laps, 250 Ks, but a bit of it spent perhaps thinking, and then the rest of it driving frantically.
Yeah, the hottest part is that it's 1:15 in the morning in New Zealand, so I've already had about an hour and a bit sleep tonight before I jumped on the server. So yeah, it was tough. I didn't have a look. I read the regs just before qualifying started and realized it was 78 laps and thought, geez, this could be a disaster with lots of safety cars. But truth be told, I needed them. My arms started to get a bit tired in those longer stints, so one or two of them were welcome additions to take a breather and have a drink of water.
New paint on the Mustang this season. Tell us about it.
I had someone take the piss out of me at a work function the other day and talk about my chrome top, my bald head with no hair, and I decided, well, if my chrome dome is going to be my nickname at work now, I might as well turn myself into a chrome dome on the racetrack. So I kind of went for the most offensive chrome color I could find, which was gold, and paired it up with the usual kind of Darren DPR stuff, which is kind of red, black, and white. And I don't know if I should be proud of it, but I kind of am. I think it looks pretty good on the track. I'm looking at it now, and I actually think it looks pretty neat. It definitely beats that Ken Block Zebra that I've run for the last few seasons.
Got a bit of the Western Sydney wedding special about it, all the gold wrap on a Ford Mustang, and
it's terribly kitsch. Throw in some good red worms for good measure.
How are you feeling about the rest of the season? Because this is a great start. Strategically, seems like you've played it well, kept your nose clean enough compared to everyone else, moved up 11 spots to this podium.
Dan, I'd love to say I'm feeling good about it, and I'm going to be able to get lots of practice in and make all the races. But it's just difficult. The time zones are difficult. I've got 2 young kids, and work gets really busy at certain times of the year. So it's a nice start. I wasn't expecting it after qualifying 14th on the grid. All I try to do, I think through practice, I'd probably only managed about 5 or 6 laps over the course of the week that weren't slowdowns through turn 1. So the race itself, I just try to keep my nose clean, and I think when you start the year with a podium like that, albeit a kind of benefiting from Wayne's unfortunate incident with the back marker, it kind of makes you hungry to try and give Jordan a crack at the front. But yeah, I got to be realistic. I'm not going to get heaps of time. I think my days of spending a lot of time and late nights on the sim are probably long behind me, and I think I've got to wait for the kids to grow up a little bit more before I can jump back onto it. But I'll certainly give it a crack. The races that I am able to do, I'll try my best. Try and get clever with safety car. Try race nice and clean, and hopefully start to challenge the guys up at the front. I did feel like I was a long way behind them today.
Well, congratulations on the podium. Wish you the best. We'll see you when we see you.
Good stuff. Thanks, boys. We'll see you next week.
Next week, inverted commas, means next round from Darren Lobb, I'm sure. already covered it off. Can't wait to go to the Bend in 2026. Jordan Ross leads the championship, but he'll have another bonus point from the 0 incidents on that one. We think it's all set for another great RaceKraft V8 Vets Championship in season 26. You'll see it all here on SimSpeed TV. Thanks for joining us from Adelaide, and we'll see you for the remaining 9 rounds as we offer our thanks to the series supporters: RaceKraft, Logitech, Nova Sim Sports, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Player One Sim Gear, LGC Images, M1 Used Cars, and SudSpeed. I have been David Haynes, with Brock Cadday and Daniel Yeaman. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night.